ठीक है. All got your copies? All of you have your copies now? Hey, all of you online? Good afternoon, good evening. Whatever works for you. Okay, so I hope you all have downloaded the printouts or the material, whatever. It is on the resource page. Go to the website, resource page. Otherwise, we have shared the links also for all of you. Check the link, scroll up the chat. Hi, Ahon, Devarga, Ganesh, Adhish, Satyam. Hi, all of you. Hello. So, can you all access the link? Pehle wo batao. You all have the links with you. Hi, Shivani. Good afternoon. Yes, you have taken a printout or whatever works for you. No issues there. But make sure you have the copies with you. A reading session ka purpose hi wahi hai that you must have the copies with you. And then we will see through. Sachrit. Hi, Sachrit. So today you told me you are from Jammu. Dogri language. So yes, the class has, all of the sessions, we have tremendous diversity, regional, cultural, linguistic. Hi, Pooja. Yeah, can the guys on the YouTube confirm if you have got the copies or not? Check the link, scroll up on the chat, we have the download. Yes? Okay. And those on the platform, I hope you also have got the copies. So there are 5-6 articles we have chosen for today, 4 of which we will cover, and the rest 1 or 2 aap apne aap padhenge, which we think are important. No, Sachrit, I don't miss anything. It's just that sometimes I respond, sometimes I don't. It all depends on the class pace. Yes. You've not taken this copy? There you are. Chalo, theek hai. Acha, one thing before I move on. Some of you have already joined, others have not. On the Telegram channel, I have a essays channel. Okay, Edukemy essays ke naam se hoga. And I have started posting some essays, tips for all of you. Last 1 week, I have posted like 6-7 of them, along with 2 suggested demos also on how to write on a topic. Online and offline, all of you. Okay, if you can Google search, essays with Edukemy ke naam se hoga. Mila aapko? Nahi. All of you join that. One of the purpose of the reading session is, I would like to teach you some writing skills. Okay, because this year when I am doing the essays class for the mains, I find that progressively the writing skills have been a challenge now. And essays writing you cannot learn the last 1 month of the examination. So if you start now, probably by December, January, you'll have learned something about essays writing. Okay, so all of you join that channel. Okay, essays with Edukemy, and do scroll and look last 7-8 posts honge. I have numbered the posts also. Masterclass essays 1, masterclass essays 2. I have also shared 2 demo essays. Kal raat mein I couldn't write down. 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, when I reach home, I try half an hour to do some jottings and I share. Sachrit, there is no dashboard on the YouTube. Okay, you can only have it on the dashboard and join me from the dashboard. and it's an open one, so you don't need a dashboard. You open up the website, go to resource page, वहाँ पर case होगा current affairs, download from there. It's on the website, so shouldn't be a problem. Okay, so I hope all of you have joined the channel now. Okay. Today we have taken a mix of environment, economy, social issues, one topic related to, the Karnataka reservation controversy also. Yeah. I will take up two abstract issues. Okay? One is, do we need environmental ethics? That's one. I've taken this from World Economic Association, a very interesting debate. Environmental conservation as an issue, it is not simply about good or bad. It goes beyond that. Okay? So this one, and I'll see. Maybe I'll take one which is a controversy around this author called Alice Munro, and something about feminism, rights, something about morality issues of the artists. Okay, so let me start with Alice Munro. आपके सेट में लास्ट वाला आर्टिकल है. Let me give an idea to you, all of you. Okay, and this is an essay which is an opinion of a writer, and you and I need not agree with this. We can say no, we don't agree, but then it definitely is an issue that is worth thinking. Okay, now see what happens is we come across famous personalities, we come across cricketers, movie makers, we come across some political figures also, and there is two sides, okay, to the people. One side is who they are in the personal capacity, in terms of their habits, in terms of what they have done, in terms of how they deal with relationship, friends, or a public part hai that is related to their skills. Just if you remember, I don't know if you have read those, Sachin Tendulkar has come under a lot of criticisms because he does not take any political stand. And the only time I remember he took one stand was regarding India-Pakistan match. बहुत issues हो रहा था, and suddenly Tendulkar said something that sounded like that politics must not enter into sports, and sports must be played for the sake of sports. It was about Pakistan coming to India and playing. And at that time, Shiv Sena, headed by Bala Sahab Thackeray, he wrote in his newspaper Samna, in Marathi, he said something which actually meant, and it was like a warning for Tendulkar, that don't take a cheeky single on these issues. Okay, because Shiv Sena has been very anti-Pakistan playing in India. So he was wrapped. And that's the last time Tendulkar ever said anything political. Uske baad he shut up. You talk about women issues, you talk about match fixing, you talk about cultural nationalism, violence, conflicts, baad mein kuch nahi bolte hain. He was also a member of the parliament as a nominee in Rajya Sabha, and he was criticized. Some call him as a man who probably lacks a spine to stand up to authority. Okay, ye criticism raha hai. Go back and check about him and his life. And there are people who take very strong political positions. So then a debate comes, should we judge Tendulkar on those lines or not? Because the fact is, and what he says will matter. Like a man like Kohli, he has his heart on the sleeves. Right, he's very expressive, very emotional. He is a man who's not known to constrain himself. Okay, and Tendulkar is other extreme mein hai. In fact, Tendulkar is also accused of, not speaking on the issue of racism when Harbhajan Singh probably abused an Australian cricketer. Back then it was a man called Andrew Symonds. And Andrew Symonds had an aborigine history. He comes from aborigines. So he made a remark about his looks. Okay, वो debate है वो क्या बोलना चाह रहे थे. Okay, he said something which Australians say that he called him a monkey. Okay, Harbhajan Singh said मैंने monkey नहीं कहा था, मैंने माकी कहा था. Okay, so in sports that is a lesser crime. Okay, जज्बे में that energy, passion में it's possible he would have said something uncharitable about his family and his parentage, but that's acceptable. Okay, गाली गलौज हो जाती है, and if you have realized, you know, those words, पता चल जाता है क्या बोल गया, right? But calling Andrew Symonds monkey was a very big issue. It's a racism. Okay, which is not proven. Ultimately, चुपचाप हो गया, and Tendulkar knew about what's going on. He has said nothing about it. Okay, so एक issue रहा है कि should the public figure of that kind keep quiet on issues or not? So one school says, don't judge them for their personality, judge them for the skill that they bring. Okay, why should you assume he is a perfect man? He's another person, but skills extraordinary. Respect him for that. Others says no. If he's that type of man who has a following, who can influence people's mind, then he better be responsible also. So on that logic, okay, people say people of influence, okay, have a responsibility, and it is right if we boycott them also. तो ये एक डिबेट चलता है, और एक डिबेट चलता है. Look at our scientists. Scientists, some of them are known to have a checkered history in terms of morality. Scientists who have invented nuclear bomb, scientists who have done unethical cloning, scientists who are known to have smuggled also, right? But then हम वो सब भूल भाल के we say scientists, we respect them for their knowledge. तो वहां पर हम क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं boycott, right? तो ये debate है कि art form आता है, we talk about boycotting the person, okay, and his works, his books, okay, boycott movies, boycott, even if the movie is a great piece of work, of art. Salman Rushdie, he is a great writer. I mean, the type of language, and he's very humorous. Okay, but at the same time, the perceptions about, okay, he is a bigot, he is a blasphemous, and Iran passed a fatwa about that we will kill him. So why can't we separate the artist from the man that he is? Ye debate raha hai. And there's no answer to this. Okay. Now this article is about a writer called Alice Munro. Alice Munro, a Canadian writer. She died recently, and she is a Nobel laureate. And she has, I mean, if you have seen some movies of Christopher Nolan, he plays with time. Okay. Her writings also are about time. आगे पीछे होता रहेगा. Very interesting way of writing. And she talks about lot of feminist issues. She's known to talk about sexuality, atrocities, freedom, and all of that. Unfortunately, her daughter, okay, wrote in one of the, okay, and long back, that her daughter was abused by her stepfather. Her stepfather, who is accused of sexual violence against the daughter. And Alice Munro, the mother, knew about this, but she has not taken any action. In fact, she snubbed her daughter by saying, "You're telling me too little, too late." And for some time, she moved out. Ultimately, she went back to her husband, her stepfather, the other stepfather. So, ये debate बनता है कि then should Alice Munro be boycotted? कहाँ तो बात कर रही हैं feminist rights, about empowerment, about, you know, equality. Okay, in fact, in one of her stories, she has a character who also is abused by her stepfather. And उस story में she is depicting rights of women and girl. But real life में I mean, people say she was monstrous. A mother condoning the act of violence against her own daughter by her husband, who is stepfather. And ultimately, the stepfather has been arrested. He admitted his crimes and is now behind the bars. So, this debate ban raha hai. What, as readers, what should we be consuming? Or should we take a stance on Alice Munro as an artist, a writer, read her books, promote her books, and maybe influenced by the books? Or should we also see the person that she was and maybe ban her books, maybe boycott her books? Should we separate the personality in the person that she or he is, separate from the skill that we have? A lot of sportsmen, like if you know about Tiger Woods, nobody says boycott Tiger Woods. And he is known for womanizing, he is known for philandering. His marriage ultimately also broke off. Or think of Elon Musk. Lot of things Elon Musk says is shocking to purists and moralists. But then are we boycotting Elon Musk products? Are we saying no more OpenAI? He is one of the big investors in OpenAI. And ChatGPT use nahi karenge. Are we doing that? Are we going to ban Tesla if it comes to India because of morality issues? Are we willing to not use his technology on robotics? Will we not use his social media site? So, these two aspects, as a scientist, a creator, whose things we use, we benefit from, and here is a writer, a painter. Why do we have separate standards for these two type of people? This article, and very interesting one, because honestly, even I couldn't find any conclusion. Ki mera kya stance hoga? It comes to, it's possible, no, somebody has invented a medicine or discovered a vaccination, very helpful, and maybe the man is actually a immoral man, according to our standards. So, hum kya karenge? Hum wo use nahi karenge fir? We'll boycott that medicine maybe. So, how can we so easily say boycott artwork, but not boycott products of science and innovations? Is it kind of a hypocrisy? It's a kind of a duplicity in our choices or not? It's like, what suits us, we are okay forgetting and seeing the other side. What doesn't suit us, we take it to other extremes. So as a person, what do you think? Why it shocks us that a woman, a writer, a Nobel laureate writing on feminist themes should actually snub her own daughter and refuse to acknowledge and the pain that she must have gone through as a victim of sexual abuse by her stepfather. It shocks us. At the same time, Alice Munro definitely is a great artist and writer. She's a Nobel laureate. When she was given Nobel Prize, this case was known and the Nobel Committee ignored that and gave her the prize. Ab question mark hai, is this right or wrong? Yeah? So I think you have got the dilemma with you now. और देखो ये सब concepts को ना समझकर use it in your ethics paper also. Think of I'm an administrator, I'm an IAS officer, I'm a politician, I'm a cabinet minister, और मेरा दो life है. I'm sure I have a personal life with me which may not be collating with the moral standards that you may have set. But maybe I'm a very great administrator. Think of Alauddin Khilji. As an administrator, he was extraordinary. Bulk of the land reforms we talk about, or land ownership, revenue we talk about, laws about agriculture, money management, is Alauddin Khilji's brain. Alauddin Khilji's ideas were taken by Akbar also into systems of mansabdari. But as a man, I'm sure we understand where we stand in terms of his morality issues. So, batao fir kya karoge? Who will you boycott and not boycott now? So it's not an easy answer, but think for yourself, what can it be? Okay? So let me now read the article. देखो बेटा, अगर आप इस एग्जामिनेशन में हो ना, ये कोर्स वोर्स के चक्कर में डोंट स्टॉप थिंकिंग. कोर्स तो करना ही करना है, दैट्स डिफाइंड, but there's something more that needs to be groomed about you. And these are the type of questions which will challenge you, which will somewhere be very difficult to come to conclusions about. And let's see what you think about this. Yes, yes, absolutely. Adish, in the sophistication I talk about, absolutely, ये आ सकता है. Okay, so let's get started now. I gave the background to you, and my suggestion is, जब time में मिलेगा आपको, okay, Alice Munro's के short stories हैं. At least you read 2 short stories. Like, it can't be more than 5, 6, 7 pages. पढ़ लो आधे घंटे में, आइडिया तो हो जाए कि अच्छा मनरो मैंने पढ़ा है और ये कंट्रोवर्सी है. And then see where to use this idea. In fact, एक ऐसे टॉपिक भी था. Does real life follow real life? Real life का मतलब क्या है? The movies. The real life is what we live. Who inspires whom? Does the real life, okay, is it the influence of the movies, or are movies inspired by the real events? This can be a very nice write-up. Her books are on sexual rights, but she herself has had a very dubious position in terms of her position vis-a-vis these issues. Yeah, Shivani, Fritz Haber, inventory of Haber process, okay, ammonia fertilizers were responsible for horrific deaths. Absolutely. Okay, part of the Holocaust rahe hain. You're right. Many writers work through their own issues through writing. Pragya says, is it possible that Alice Munro expressed her works, what she could experience in life? For example, she might not be confused. I do not know Pragya. Pragya says it's possible that वो जो कर नहीं पा रही थी, maybe her works से वो करना चाह रही थी. Like, I don't know. Okay, ultimately, her daughter says that she had no support from her mother. Okay. Like Keshav Chandra Sen, on child marriage, yet married his minor daughter. Yeah, Ganesh. So who is he? Is he a villain or is he a hero? Is a question mark. You know, Karl Marx he had slaves in his house. And he wrote about anti-slavery and capitalism. Okay, so ये बड़ा गड़बड़ है. You know, we do not know where they stand. Okay, fine. So now you got the essence of, let's start off. And I like the write-up. Look at the flow of कैसे शुरू कर रहे हैं ये. Okay, it says, stories are essential for our existence. We read stories because they matter to us in our everyday lives. They influence us, give us joy, evoke sadness, and exemplify courage. ये एक बहुत powerful type का writing होता है. 3-4 things, comma डाल के. Okay, I fight, I brave, I face it, okay, I take it on and I win. एक तरीका है बोलने का. A word, comma, some phrase, comma, a phrase, comma, and so on. Right? It says, they influence us, give us joy, evoke sadness, exemplify courage. Among all other forms of art, it is stories that makes us realize that we are part of the world of others. They're also a way of bringing others onto lives. I mean, forget about Alice Munro. Even this writer, Sundar Sarukkai, very nice introduction. I'm forced to read कि आगे क्या लिख रहे होंगे. The stories that we read, they're one way of connecting ourselves with the world around us. Okay, they also bring a way of bringing ourselves into others' lives, or others into our lives. I begin with these thoughts as a response to controversies surrounding Alice Munro, the celebrated Canadian Nobel Prize winner in literature. Her daughter Andrea Skinner wrote in an essay in the Toronto few weeks ago about the fact that she was sexually abused as a child by her stepfather. And this abuse was known to her mother, who aligned with a man against her daughter. The revelation about the abuse was not a secret, as Skinner had filed a police complaint in 2004, following which her stepfather was given a suspended sentence. Munro was awarded Nobel Prize in 2013. Apparently, this episode did not affect the decision of the Nobel Committee. Nobel Committee said, we are awarding an art. We are awarding contribution. A personal life should not matter to us. Okay, so they went on, okay, giving her the award. Skinner's article, Andrea Skinner, the daughter of Alice Munro. Skinner's article has led to a churning in the academic as well as literary world. Should Munro be taught in class? Should we read her books now? Do her stories represent the attitude that made her behave in this reprehensible manner with regard to her daughter? Should we show our solidarity with feminists and survivors of sexual abuse. You've heard about Me Too movement, right? Me Too ka kya movement ka kya tha? That will boycott all works of art and products that seem to endorse or support some immoral behavior, particularly women issues. If a director, if a producer, if an actor has a history of abusing women or taking advantage of women, has been a misogynist or whatever kind, then we must boycott that kind of art forms. And that is the Me Too movement. What was this guy's name? Harvey Weinstein, right? The American Hollywood guy, because of whom even Bill Gates had a divorce now. Harvey, right? Nobody knows. You're living under a rock or what? मतलब अब दुनिया में हो भी कि नहीं? Yeah, Harvey what? I forget. Weinstein. Weinstein? Do you know about him or not? Harvey Weinstein is one of the most successful producers of Hollywood. And he is known to be a monster. ऐसा कोई top heroine नहीं है of 90s and this 2000s who he has not abused. And he has literally single-handedly, oh, you want this? ठीक है. He has single-handedly been responsible for making or destroying character. Weinstein, correct. And he had, I mean, अभी वो Puff Diddy भी तो फंसा है. Don't know Puff Diddy also. I mean, all of them will get caught. Puff Diddy के साथ में Obama also is being linked. He is being linked to, this guy. क्या नाम उसका? Beyonce and her husband. क्या नाम है? Yeah, Puff Daddy, yes. Puff Daddy, Puff Diddy, whatever. Maverick guy. Husband of Beyonce, कौन है? Give me a choice. I'll tell you, huh? Yeah, Jay-Z, correct. Okay, Jay-Z, yes. And they are on the verge of separation again. Reason is again Puff Diddy. And Harvey Weinstein के बारे में बताते हैं that he was a pretty good friend of Bill Gates. If you read the stories of his wife, separated now, she says, I was always upset about Bill Gates going and meeting him. And she said, I went with Bill Gates once just to know who is this man and how does he look like. And she said, I regretted the moment I stepped into his house. Apparently, she didn't like whatever. And then she filed for a divorce. One of the costliest divorce of modern times. Okay, the Bill Gates separating out. Okay, yeah, Melinda Gates and Bill Gates. And Melinda Gates says this. Okay, Harvey Weinstein, one reason why she separated from Bill Gates, because Bill Gates was unwilling, to let go of Kanye West. Yeah, Kanye was the other guy, correct. So, I mean, you should know these names. I mean, talking about people, personalities, crimes. Okay, I say you guys are, not at all aware of what's happening. Even Kanye West has been accused of friendship with Puff Diddy and anyways. So, it comes down to this point here. That should Munro be taught in class? Should we read her books now? Do her stories represent the attitude that made her behave in this reprehensible manner? Okay, regard to daughter. Should we show solidarity with the feminists and survive sexual abuse and so on? Yeah, Kanye is Kim's Kardashian, so fine, you know that, fine. So in fact, the controversy of Michael Jackson was what? Michael Jackson is accused of child sexual abuse. Not proven, but he had this fantasy land called Neverland. Suna aapne? Neverland. It's like a fantasy world. It's like amusement park. And he would take children there, whatever. Again, not proven, but that's one reason why Michael Jackson was in trouble. All the court cases, libel cases, and so on. So do we ban or do we boycott Michael Jackson ke works because of these allegations? That's the question. Okay. Yes. Okay. So there's a whole lot. I mean, it's a skeleton out there if you open it up. Yeah, Kevin Spacey also. Right. ठीक है. देसी में तो हमें सबसे संस्कारी बाबूजी तो थे हमारे आलोकनाथ जी. Are you aware of Aloknath and his escapades? या स्क्रीन अलग है उनका, ओके, बाबूजी बहुत अलग हैं, बड़े संस्कारी हैं, ओके, बट ओके वो अलग लेवल में ऑपरेट करते हैं. A line from Skinner's essay is illustrative. She writes that after she told her mother about the abuse, her mother was not supportive of her. Munro had written a story with similar plotline of a girl being abused by an adult. Skinner points out, in spite of her sympathy for a fictional character, my mother had no similar feelings for me. It's like maybe Munro was using this event for her own literary works and benefiting as a feminist. But actually Skinner, her daughter, says, Mom was not at all impacted by what she was facing. This comment captures an important facet in writing fiction. Good writers can produce characters who go beyond the frailties of their own lives. Stories are full of reflection, both for the writer and the reader. Storytelling is not merely a reproduction of one's life, although life can often be the foundation of the narrative. The controversy is more than a judgment for her personal life and is about the artistic merit of her work. Despite the success of the characters in her stories to alert and move rude readers about issues, should she be deemed unworthy of reading and teaching because of her personal failure as a mother, woman, or human? Okay. Despite her genius, should we dismiss her work and not teach or read because she failed as a human being, she failed as a mother, she failed as a woman? One of my friends refuses to buy anything from a well-known chain because she believes that they follow unethical business practices. Have you heard about boycott, movement chalta rehta hai, boycott sentiments, boycott McDonald's, okay, you want to boycott Adidas. Okay, why? Because, okay, maybe the players or people who endorse it, they are not ethical people. Okay, so she says a friend is doing that. If it is as if the objects for sale in that shop are tainted by the immorality of the company which owns that shop. We have known to boycott Walmart. Okay, remember Walmart ke ek Amazon mein shayad some doormats were being sold with figurines and art of Lord Krishna, and it was a big hue and cry. We said boycott Amazon, boycott Walmart. Okay, so which means what? Okay, we are not seeing Walmart for what it is. Okay, and we are seeing it for what it represents in terms of what it sells. So why are we not having the same standards for the works of Alice Munro? There are some prominent musicians who were accused in the Me Too movement. Many listeners boycotted these musicians as they felt that the music itself was stained by their actions in their personal lives. On the contrary, famous scientists who have produced great work have not had their works boycotted or rejected because of their immoral personal behavior. Arguably, the greatest immorality in scientific work was in producing the theory and the technology of the nuclear bombs. Yet, all those scientists are not only revered, but their work has been valorized and developed even today. I mean, yeah, this is actually a irony. Alfred Nobel made dynamite. Explosive, Alfred Nobel. Unke naam se we have a peace prize. Right? I mean, it's a question. Maybe Alfred Nobel wanted to, maybe regret whatever. That's why he has done this. But the question वही है कि हम scientists का तो ban नहीं कर रहे हैं. Then why are we banning art? By the way, before I move on to what author says, आप भी अपना एक mind बना लो. What would I have done? And then let's read and see whether that point is supported or not. You make up your mind. What do you think? Should we ban Alice Munro or not? Should we not read Alice Munro or not? Should we not teach Alice Munro or not? All works of Alice Munro should be burned, or all works should be boycotted and banned. Okay, and now we'll think about what is right or wrong. Okay? Similarly, many famous figures in philosophy have not had their work cancelled or even questioned, even though their personal lives was built on practices of misogyny, racism and casteism. We are known to vote Donald Trump, no? India mein, okay, the stance on Israel-Palestine. We say we will do what's best for India. Isn't it? What is good for India. irrespective of who is the killer, what is it doing, is it right, is it wrong. हम कहाँ सुन रहे हैं चीज? We're okay with Iran relation, we're okay with North Korea relations, even if we know that something is not right. For that matter, even US case mein, US is not known to always support moral issues, right? But what benefits us, we say, okay, let's go with that. Is that right in terms of moral stance? Like philosophy departments around the world teach these thinkers as if their views can be effortlessly decoupled from the regressive, dangerous beliefs and practices. These examples illustrate a split in response to relation between what is produced and the moral quality of the producer. Modern scientific disciplines are built on assumptions that knowledge that is produced should be differentiated from the moral qualities of the individual. Very nicely said. The academic disciplines हैं, इसमें एक assumption है. Separate the product of research from the character of the person who created that. उसको अलग करो. Okay. This belief was not always held and is part of specific social process of modernity to liberate scientific knowledge from the constraints of morality. Science को morality से अलग करो. Okay. But art does not have this easy way out. Art has always had a close relation to the world of feeling rather than the world of reason. Art moves us in ways that science and philosophy texts don't. We share a greater familiarity with music and other arts than with academic disciplines. Because of this aspect, art, particularly stories, are much more closer to us and impact us much more than other knowledge productions. इस राइटिंग में एक चीज सीखो आप. How is the author developing it? Author first states a fact. Then author says, this is a question to be. So till first page, अभी तक भी, I'm not sure author क्या कहना चाह रहे हैं, right? It's like an author is giving us a very, very, unbiased account of what's happening. The author is projecting, okay, an unbiased, okay, dilemma he or she has. Okay, so she tells a story first, ये हुआ है. Okay, then she tells me Munro was not, okay, disqualified because of a moral stand. However, we find a lot of artists are banned, but we find scientists are not banned. But an argument where art form you can't separate. Okay, so she is moving towards some argument, no? This is a technique of argumentative essays also. When you take a position, कि मुझे ये कहना है, how do you build your case? Essays में ये topics आते हैं, argumentative topics. That take a position on one of the issues. Do you think this is right or wrong? आप develop कैसे करोगे? Okay, so you'll develop it unbiasedly, show me the both sides, tell me dilemma, and then tell me where you stand. So abhi tak the author has not taken a stand yet. Now she's developing towards her stand. This is the style of writing. Usko bhi dhyan do aap. Not simply kya कहना चाह रही हैं. Okay. In fact, most of you ये article होता तो छोड़ ही देते, आप पढ़ते ही नहीं. Current affairs दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है ना. There is no geopolitics, no environment, no social issues, no data भी नहीं है. Budget दिखाई नहीं दे रहा हमें इसमें. तो क्यों पढ़ें इसको? Okay, so fine. So now she or he, Sundar or he. Okay, so he is now shifting gear towards his own position. Okay, he says, but art does not have this easy way out. Science is बड़ा आसान है because it's about, I can justify it's good of the humanity. Vaccination is important for health. Okay, but art में वो नहीं है. Art has always had a close relation to the world of feeling rather than the world of reason. Art moves us in ways that science and philosophy texts don't. We share a greater familiarity with music and other arts than with academic disciplines. And basically, art is close to our heart. Art is close to our feelings, emotions. Art is not a product to consume. Okay, because of this aspect, art, particularly stories, are much more closer to us and impact us more than other knowledge productions. Art has had a share of immoral artists to the extent that the term monstrous has now become common in referring to them. The long list of famous writers, filmmakers, and artists whose moral lives are monstrous. The problem with these monstrous artists is that they produce what is seen as great work. I forget this guy's name, wait. One of the greatest producers of movies. Polanski? I think Polanski. I think it is Polanski. I forget. And I forget that movie's name also. Evening in, not Steven Spielberg, no. There's a movie about one evening in Paris type का कहानी है. I'll just tell you. Is it Polanski? Just check करो. P-O-L-A-N. He is accused of sexual abuse, misogyny. Woody Allen भी है, but not Woody Allen. Nobody? And he's a genius. Yeah? I think Roman Polanski, yes. I think उनका एक work देखो, Paris Evening, or it's called as The Butter Scene, देखो. Butter Scene is Roman Polanski. Just type Butter Scene. मिला कुछ Butter Scene में? Yeah? Butter Scene मिला? मूवी का नाम क्या है? Paris? What Paris? और Evening ऐसे ही कुछ है. The name is that? Evening in Paris? Is it famous or infamous for Butter Scene? देखो. Last Tango in Paris. Correct. Thank you. Last Tango in Paris. Correct. I'll tell you what the story is about, okay? But at a very high level. Now, Polanski, a director, and this story is about a man and a woman. For some reason, they separate out, and the man wants his lover back, and they meet for in Paris for an evening shayad. And in the conversation, this man he assaults his girlfriend. It was a sexual abuse, a rape case tha wo, and the girl ultimately kills him, and then whatever happens, okay. But wo jo rape ka scene tha na, okay, that rape scene, Polanski did not explain to that actress, okay, and she was taken by surprise, and it actually was almost an actual rape case, and they filmed the entire thing, and it's considered as one of the best work of arts, because the expression captured, the scene captured, it was very realistic that ways, okay. So, and after that, that girl got branded. She never got any more work. She got into depression, and she lost it. Her life was ruined by that one scene. And whenever Polanski was asked about it, he always said it was the creative freedom of the producer. And this is the question mark. And Polanski baat mein he has been caught, and I mean, people now know him as not the nice man people thought he was. Exactly, you cannot do that, fine. So these are some very big question marks in art form. And it's not just one case, there are hundreds of cases of this kind, where in the name of creative freedom or creativity, some boundaries have been crossed. And some of the boundaries have very, very difficult consequences. I mean, careers destroyed, family destroyed, and so on. Okay, उस context में बता रहे हैं कि some of the artists, they're brilliant, okay, creators, but whose moral lives are monstrous. Okay, the problem with these monstrous artists is that they produce what's seen as great work, but once we hear of their infamous life practices, our reaction, reception, judgment of their artwork gets distorted. But the conflict rages on between those who think that artworks are independent of the moral quality of the artist and should be seen as such. When they say this, they're basically converting artwork into pieces of objective knowledge as in academic disciplines. Can art really be seen in this manner? After all, an artwork gets its value through social process. One becomes famous writer due to a variety of social factors, the most important of which is support of the group of people who promote a person's work. But this aspect is hidden when the value of an artwork is reduced to some independent aesthetic qualities present in the artwork. But if these aesthetic qualities that presumably define great art are as much a product of community of critics, friend magazines, and socialites and others, an artist who depends on social world for her legitimacy cannot, when inconvenient, say that they cannot be held accountable to society. Yahan par aakar, the writer takes a stand now. Now he establishes, आग बनाने के बाद में, कि you cannot separate the art from the artist, from the person, okay, like we separate maybe academics में and other discoveries में. Because other cases में, they do not need the endorsement of the common man. If I made a car that flies, I don't need common man to accept or reject it. It's a good thing, it will work. But art form requires the endorsement of the common man, the fan following. It requires critiques. It requires some endorsement patronage also. Therefore, the author says, an artist who depends on social world for her legitimacy cannot, when inconvenient, say that they cannot be held accountable to society. Art has the capacity to show us a world through its own filters. I will read Alice Munro now, not for her stories, but to see what those stories can tell me about the terrible human capacity to hurt others around them. Okay, so I think this is a question for you guys. आप क्या करोगे बताओ? Okay, so see, you as a person intellect can only grow when you have questions that trouble you. Okay, I mean, I forget who am I reading this. In India, there's a lot of this government sentiments. Okay, and government sentiments across spectrum. आप हाई कास्ट हैं, लो कास्ट हैं, हाई क्लास हैं, लो क्लास हैं, a poor man, a farmer, an industrialist, a politician. We find people have governments to go to. So I was reading, seeing one of the videos that said, the common reason we tell why we do this is lack of education. The answer is, it is not lack of education. Agar lack of education hota, then why so learned people also believe in all of this superstitions? Why? The answer is, maybe our culture, we lack scientific temperament, the ability to question, the ability to see things for what they are. I may be learned, I am a physicist, I am an inventor, I am good in scoring good marks, but mentality is still not scientific temper. That's why we are still believing in some traditional practices which are actually wrong. We also are somewhere, we are superstitious also. This idea of question, ये बहुत important quality है. That as young youth, as young children, as future leaders, you should have the ability to ask why questions, no matter how uncomfortable the questions are. Question your traditions, question your cultures, question your political systems, question art forms, question your religions also. There's nothing wrong. You believe in God, you believe in supernatural, fine. But question होना चाहिए कि ऐसा क्यों बोला गया? Okay, and I was hearing somebody say something. He said, Gita as a book, Quran as a book, is different from the idea of good living, the idea of morality. Most of us are hung about the book. आपने गीता पकड़ लिया, कृष्ण को छोड़ दिया. आपने कुरान पकड़ लिया, but the goodness of God, Allah, that you have forgotten. You are so reverent about Bible as a book. The values that Jesus Christ lived and died for, you've forgotten that. Why? Because we lack that ability to question. So we are hung to rituals, we're hung to mechanical practices, okay, and we disregard human life. I mean, देखो ना, in the name of religion, I mean, the kind of crimes we commit in the name of religion, okay, murder, rapes, okay, atrocities, arson. Why? Because God is seeking some validation from us. It's like, हम नहीं बचाएंगे तो God ही नहीं बचेगा. I mean, अगर ऐसा God है तो यार क्यों बचाना उसको, बताओ? I mean, ऐसा God है तो अच्छा ही खत्म ही हो जाए. God should not require our validations, no? That's the power of question of why. Ask the whys, question, and ये जो anxiety है या restlessness है, it must be part of your personality. Then you grow up as an ethical, I mean, look at this Pooja, that case, that lady. And believe me, although UPSC may say it is an aberration, it is not an aberration. In some ways, I also feel bad. I know of people who have done this, but I also never had the courage to stand up and say, or I said, ठीक है, अब हो गया. My own classmates, my students have asked me, I have turned a blind eye. कर सकते हो तो कर लो यार, मुझे बोलो मत जाओ. EWS is a big scam. So is, I think, OBC reservations. The only way you rise up is when you start asking ethical questions. ठीक है? Okay, anyways. So I hope you have a question to answer now for yourselves. What will your stand be in issues of this kind? कल आप एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन में जाएंगे, boycott का issue आप पे पड़ेगा. Boycott a movie, boycott a book. You will part of a process where you must politically support some boycott movements. What will your conscience be? ठीक है? So I leave you troubled, I hope. Let's take up another one. Something again on the lines of ethics, morality. Oh yes, इसका crux को notes बना. See, इसका notes नहीं दे रहे हैं because इसका notes बनाने का कुछ है ही नहीं. The whole article is so important. Read it 2-3 times. क्या debates हैं, क्या dilemma है. Okay. So no notes from me for this one. Yes, Sachrit, correct. Anu, what was your point? I did not see your point. In dilemma times, we should focus on context of things and not judge person outside the context. I don't know, Anu, what you want to say. Actually, I am not sure now. Okay, will I endorse Alice Munro or not? And like the author says, end में, कि मैं फिर भी पढ़ूंगा. To know that, how can a man become so monstrous? Maybe I will not endorse Alice Munro, but I'll be curious कि वो क्या दिमाग होगा. इतना beautiful writings हैं, but as a person, she was a monster. I don't know, Anu. I leave it. Okay. The article was chosen because it troubled me. Somewhere, some of my actions, I also felt maybe even I was a bit hypocrite. What suits me, I say it. Doesn't suit me, I keep quiet. So, आप सोचो फिर right है या wrong है. I don't know Sachrit. I do not know Pragya. Sachrit says, okay, judge the morality of the work, not the writer. I don't know. I don't know whether this will work or not. किसको? यही तो आर्टिकल कह रहा है. आर्ट फॉर्म्स में आप अलग नहीं कर सकते हैं. So I can't disagree with this or agree with this. I'm actually lost. It'll take me some weeks and months of thinking, then I'll take up a stand. And up to you, how you work it out. I do not know. I remember this statement. I do not know if the writer is right or wrong, but I know he has made a great case for it. Left me confused at least. It's like, writers like Arun. Read their articles or their books, no. You can't decide ki galat hai ki sahi hai. They're so powerful writers. They'll make you think. Ayn Rand, I always say this, another writer, Ayn Rand. About Ayn Rand, I still do not know she's right or wrong. But she is a beautiful writer. Such powerful writer, you will get swayed by that. I think Sundar, this guy is of that quality. I can't decide. Okay, but very nicely argued, okay, point. Okay, get on. Do we need environmental ethics? Achha, now, let me give the background for this now. Now, environmental conservation, environmental protection, environmental movement का एक बहुत important dimension है that it's important for our survival. Clean water because I need drinking water. Clean the air because I need breathe. Don't kill animals because biodiversity and I get benefits of pollination, of food. So take care of that one. So there is a utilitarian perspective of why environment must be conserved. Environment serves a purpose. Environment serves a utility. It's like in a dog. I don't like animals. I don't love anything other than, okay, maybe myself. But the dog serves a purpose, which is, okay, loyal to me, which is take care of the house. That's why I'll go and feed the dog. Not that I love the dog. This is the utilitarian perspective. That thing, that animal, that life form, that object is doing some function. That's why I will take care of it. Second hai, ya function kare na kare. It's a living thing. An old dog, kya function karega wo? So if I was the first type of a guy, utilitarian guy, the old dog is a burden. Hatao isko. Itne aise kara do. Right? I don't need the dog. Right? But others says, no, it's a morality thing. Okay, it's an ethical issue. How can you kill? So environmental protection का ये एक debate है. Is environment protection an ethical issue and therefore do it? Or is it because of its functions and utility, therefore conserve it? There's a mindset attitude thing. This is debating on that. Do we need to consider environmental ethics also? Or are we okay with the concept of utilitarian, okay, benefits of the environment? Ultimately, both say conserve. But what mindset is what we need? The article is arguing. So, all of you, this again is not from your regular newspaper. ये आप छोड़ दोगे उसको. This is from World Economics Association एक article था. We pulled it out. ठीक है? Let's start off. Environmental ethics is a field of applied ethics concerned with the ethical dimensions of human relationship with nature. Now, this is one technique. You know, if the topic has a technical word to it, then good point to start your write-up with defining it. Okay. So, this may, the technical topic is this. Therefore, the first line is defining it. But definition should not always be a formula for essay. Because zaruri nahi hai. What's obvious? Okay, like say, should we protect environment? But don't explain the definition of environment, not required there. But ethics definitely is a technical word. It says, what is ethics? It's a field of applied ethics with the ethical dimensions of human relationship towards nature. The term environmental ethics covers a variety of approaches that can be roughly divided in two camps: anthropocentrism and non-anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism refers to human-centric approach to environmental problems that protects the nature of for the humans. Radical anthropocentrism is often equated with the view that only human beings have intrinsic values and sees nature as having only instrumental value. So, ये जो ethical aspect है, इसका दो dimension है. One dimension is you're looking at things from your own human benefit need. What is your utilitarian aspect? Okay. In this approach, it says that only human beings have intrinsic values. Everything else has only instrumental value. Non-anthropism encompasses a variety of approaches with the belief that non-human entities also have value that is not reducible to anthropocentric interests. So anthropocentric का मतलब है anything that benefits man and his life. Value जो है वो man में ही होता है, human beings में होता है. Everything else is about whether they benefit us or not. The other approach says, everything else around us also has some value which is not always about whether it benefits human interests or not. It often questions the propriety of human interests and preference as sufficient basis for environmental decision making. Environmental ethics is inherently pluralistic, representing a variety of socio-environment values and beliefs. Its overarching goal is to prompt change in the collective practices and individual behaviors. Okay? Man-environment relationship में geography guys ये बहुत important topic आपके लिए है. तो new environmentalism है ना ये पूरा आ जाएगा. Don't be bookish anymore. Okay? What is the new idea of environmental ethics? Oh, we have some debate going on here between Adhiraj, Pragya, style over substance, Sachrit. Good, nice, लड़ लो ये सब चीज में. Okay, I mean, this is a debate that we want, okay, with the students and okay, you're thinking individuals. Perfectly fine. And I hope I'm encouraging you or enticing you into it. I have no opinion. You decide. मैं तो कह दिया मैं confused हूँ यार. Okay, whether it's God or not, I do not know. I'm confused. Okay, भगवान है तो मैं तो कहता हूँ दिखते क्यों नहीं है. Okay, सिर्फ भगवान एंशिएंट लोगों को क्यों दिखाई देते थे. Okay, मुझे क्यों नहीं दिखाई दे रहे हैं, मुझसे क्यों नहीं बात कर रहे हैं. Okay, ऐसा क्या प्रॉब्लम है. God has made me, and why should God only speak one type of language? I am a person who speaks Zulu language. मेरा भगवान जुलू में क्यों नहीं बोलता है, सिर्फ संस्कृत अरबिक में क्यों बोलता है. मेरे अपने प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. Okay, so I do not know. And population of 1.4 billion in India and 8 billion world में इतने wars हैं. एक बार तो बनता था ना भगवान आके बताते कि stop nonsense. Okay, कर ही नहीं रहे. Okay, छोड़ दिया महाराज जी पे. Okay, चरण सेवा करवा रहे हैं. Okay, where is God? That's my question. अब है या नहीं, you decide. But I am confused. I do not know. Environmental ethics. Ethics developed as a separate field of inquiry and action in response to the fact that ecological crisis is driven by human activities. Even though it is difficult to predict the scope and speed of environmental change, such as biodiversity loss, pollution, etc., scientific community rests on consensus that contemporary environmental problems are humanly induced. Okay. This recognition led to the problematizing the human-environment relationship in ethical terms and looking at environmental problems as moral ones. That because all moral issue आता कहाँ से? आता है from the fact that looking around us, all problems are the consequence of human aspect. Whatever man has done, he is responsible for loss of biodiversity, responsible for climate change. Okay. So now the issue is, okay, that should we see environment also as a moral fact or not? Okay, because man is responsible. Social change fostered by environmental ethics is meant to counteract what's believed to underlie unsustainable extractive paradigm of human activities, the attitude of dominion and the instrumentalist view of nature ingrained in the Western value systems. What he's saying is that if we always think in terms of whether environmental action will lead to benefit or not, okay, it will not solve our environmental problem. Whatever we have done till now is the consequence of man being selfish, driving all benefits towards himself. So if you look at conservation also, from the angle of that it must benefit human being, your conservation will not work. I will not kill the dog because the dog protects me. But tomorrow dog stops protecting, I'll kill it. I will not kill the snakes because snakes kills the pests like rats. But tomorrow if I find a snake that's not killing the rat, I'll kill that snake also. So ये जो environmental movement है, which is centered around that we must protect environment because environment benefits us. This article says that will not work because that is responsible for the problems that we have created. And this idea is a Western idea, he says. I'm repeating. Social change fostered by environmental ethics is meant to counteract what's believed to underlie the unsustainable extractive paradigm of human activities. Okay? The attitude of dominion, I own things, and the instrumentalist view of nature ingrained in the Western system of values. In this broad sense, environmental ethics advocacy diverges from the dominant neoliberal paradigm with its focus on human-centered values, markets, and economic growth. ये क्या है? What's neoliberal paradigm? Essentially, reformist capitalism. Capitalism is about we'll do what benefits us. The neoliberals is चलो हम ध्यान भी रखेंगे because it is ultimately benefiting us. So the view of environment to be protected because environment से benefit मिलता है, that is a neoliberal thinking. That's a capitalist thinking with its focus on human-centered values, focus on markets and economic growth. But according to some environmental pragmatists, such a strong normative position and the rhetoric of intrinsic value may impair its capacity to induce a broader change because it is too detached from the existing social and political reality. ये जो idea है, okay, that will not solve problems because it is detaching the reality of social and political issues. I have always maintained one thing, that one of the key skills has to be comprehension skills. एक पैराग्राफ पढ़ के आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? A simple write-up समझ में आ जाएगा, but this is a very complex one. For many of you might struggle 3-4 readings समझने के लिए क्या कहना चाह रहा है. That's your comprehension skills. And the CSAT paper यही वाला पूछता है कि इस आर्टिकल के इन्फ्लुएंस बताओ, इस आर्टिकल का assumptions बताओ, इस आर्टिकल के conclusions बताओ, ये पूछते हैं, right, in your CSAT paper. Okay. This is one way of learning your comprehension skills also. CSR, yes, absolutely, Sachit, correct. CSR is a neoliberal approach, correct. Very right. And that's what we are questioning. That approach, carbon market, carbon trading is a neoliberal approach. Right? So you are right. The whole concept of ecosystem service is also a neoliberal approach. That's the geography guys understand this, no? There's an ecocentric approach and there is a technocentric approach. Okay, there is an adaptive approach, there's a manipulative approach. There's a deep ecology approach where environment must be worshipped. Environment is God, environment is divine. और एक है, environment is made for the consumption of man. Environment is usufruct concept. Some of you have done the topic with me in thought. I hope you can relate to it now. Okay, so yes, very nice, Sachit. I like the way you have connected it. CSR is a neoliberal approach. Perfect. Okay, so it says there are also concerns about the effectiveness of grounding environmental action on moral foundations for different. ये एक और dimension बता रहा है. Now he has proven that the neoliberal approach is not right. But then he says, moral issue may be a problem hai. Okay, the other counter angle now. Okay. There are also concerns about effectiveness of grounding environmental action on moral foundation. For example, he says, relying on moral progress and philosophical arguments to really make a difference may be too slow. It's an attitude thing, no? The world does not have time, okay, कि आपको सिखाएं, convince करें, आप मानो, life में लेके आओ, then let us stop, okay, destroying the environment. तब तक the world will roast to death, or you and I will roast to death for that matter. The moral approach is a social attitude change, and it's a very slow process. Instead, appeals to solid scientific information may provide a sound, sufficient basis for expanding our horizons and motivating actions for sustainability. And this is actually a tricky one. It says that while utilitarian approach is a shallow approach, but it's a very effective approach. It's almost like bribing somebody, no? It's like, son, don't go out and play. Padhai karo. Why? Life is good and bad. Aage challenges aayenge. If you do not study now, knowledge acquire nahi hoga. What about your personality development? What about your intellectual development? You're going out and play, you're frivolous, unpunctual. Pura gyan de diya maine. ठीक है? Second approach is, अगर बाहर जाओगे ना, जूते पड़ेंगे, पढ़ाई करोगे, तो I will have a party tonight. Which will work more? The second approach. ठीक है? That's the dilemma here. Say, the neoliberal approach is very effective. Conserve environment. Environment is God and Gyan and, Atma, Paramatma. Second is, if you conserve, month ke end mein 100 rupees le jana, incentivize. If you plant trees, you can get subsidies for me. If you don't use petrol fuel, your taxes are lesser, which will work more. You convincing farmers not to grow rice because environmental bad hai. Second is, tweak the MSP of rice, kama do. Farmer apne aap nahi karne wala. That's the point of his saying. He says that the problem is, it is slow. Rather, if you appeal to scientific information, a sound ground, a basis for expanding horizons, and it is more effective. It looks as if the choice is between moral arguments and some kind of rationalism or even scientificism. The beach mein rakho isko. Do we need environmental ethics? I claim that we do. In face of scientific uncertainty regarding the scope and environmental hazards, we cannot avoid making judgments that are too much about values as they're about facts. Indeed, access to information is an important aspect of advancing environment, but our belief about world, which includes moral beliefs and values, impact our perception assessment. Environmental ethics can facilitate. Now see how the article is developed. First it says, environment ethics बहुत broad है. There is an aspect of utility ethics and there's an aspect of morality ethics. Then it says that the utility ethics jo hai, it is very shallow. And in reality, the problems are because man sees environment as a benefit. So we must move towards the ethics of morality. But then he says, morality may be problem hai. So finally, then is ethic concept right or wrong? अगर दोनों में problem है, तो क्या करेंगे ethics का? Now he says, even then ethics are important. While you may have problem in choosing what you want to do, but not having ethics is not a question. He says we need a balance. Our beliefs about the world, which include moral beliefs and values, they impact our perception, assessment of information. And environmental ethics can facilitate expanding scientific horizons by looking out the box of our received systems of beliefs. This दोनों है. The moral ethics develops our perceptions. The other ethics जो moral नहीं है, based on science and benefits हैं, that helps us act faster. We need a balance between the two approaches in ethics. The dominant socioeconomic practices exacerbate ecological problems and widen inequalities. Alternatives emerging in response to these problems call for a new social narrative of economic practices. Environment ethics articulates a trend that counters the extractive paradigm, unfettered economic growth, and insatiable human desires. A new social narrative inspired by environment ethics is based on recognition that our share in the current environment situation is founded on the ethical values of responsibility towards each other, reverence of life, respect. So I think the balance is now set. हमें चाहिए दोनों. Okay, that if we only focus on the economic aspects, गलत है. If I ignore economic aspect, वो भी गलत है. Okay, that's why I say this line. It says, environment ethics articulates a trend that counters ये fact है that do not talk about environment only in terms of extractive, कि निकालना है mines, निकालना है wood, निकालना है agriculture. That's extractive paradigm. That's wrong. We cannot encourage unfettered economic growth, okay, and insatiable human desires. The society is inspired by ethics on recognition of share and so on. The alternative paradigm, informed by environmental concerns, aims to challenge the status quo and implement a profound change in how we use our limited resources. This means the necessity of a complete makeover of economy. So it's like this, देखो, it's saying, देखो, economy को आप ignore नहीं कर सकते. Like I'm asked this question, which is better, socialism, communism, or capitalism? My verdict is, you cannot remove capitalism. Capitalism is what motivates. Capitalism is what acknowledges your rights to grow. Capitalism is a very human instinct that I want to be the best, I want to own things. Okay, उसको ignore नहीं कर सकते आप. Communism is what? All equal. मैं काम करूंगा, कोई और benefit ले, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. I'll work according to my ability and take according to my needs. It's true altruism. So if you ask me, communism काम क्यों नहीं करेगा? Because communism is against the human nature. Okay. Capitalism is what? But we need to reform capitalism. And capitalism has to become altruistic capitalism. Capitalism which is responsible capitalism. Make money, but itna hi. Iske beyond exploitative hai. Have profits, but itna hi. Beyond this, it is exploitative. Similarly, it says that we need a makeover of the economy. Okay. Society and behaviors. Such transition is urgently needed in order to move socioeconomic systems towards a more sustainable and responsible modus operandi. It is sustainable it can be achieved by shifting emphasis on the matter to us. A new narrative may promote sufficiency over efficiency, expanding our measures of success of welfare well-being. Okay, fine. Such a change will be more robust, based on redefining relationship with the nature from that of dominion over nature towards stewardship. It's like, we don't own the nature, but we must take care of nature. I mean, this is what Gandhi said, no? That we are the caretakers. This stewardship hai, ye caretaker attitude hai. It's like, our generation, okay, must take care so that the next generation can benefit. That's the idea of stewardship. So I have to change my thinking from dominion approach, dominion ka matlab hai ownership approach, towards the stewardship approach. Okay, noting our place within the nature, but not above it. So I'm part of nature, I'll take care of nature, I am a manager of the nature for the future generation. Yahi hai sustainable development, what we call as intergenerational equity. Okay. Issues linked to ethics. I mean, thereafter, I think nothing much to add here. not only reflections. It helps account intensive motivations for care. Preserving environment means preserving conditions of life for us and for the non-human world. Environmental problems are trans-border issues. It's our collective responsibility to address them. The debate is now taken care. Economists need to team up with environmental and social scientists. What we choose to value and to preserve ultimately says something. This is a nice word. What we choose to value and what we preserve ultimately says something about us. Through our practiced values, we are co-writing a societal narrative that shapes society. A stand oblivious to fine. The alternative principles of resource allocation, economics education, fine, I think we are done. So I think it's a nice article. You need 2-3 readings in this. Okay. Ultimately, this article is about sustainable development. एक अलग तरीके से बताया है, without using the word sustainable development. That we need a balance, okay, between the morality issues and the economics of the benefits. Yeah, I mean, yes, you're right. Yes, stewardship is a very powerful word. Shift. And इसको ना उठा के notes में लिख लो. ये सारा काम आने वाला है paper for ethics, in your environmental management, in your essays, and geography is the full of this. Any issue of environment, sustainable development, you have it. ठीक है? Okay, I am done. Let me. That's my intention. I hope I'll do it next Saturday maybe. A couple of months ago, we had some book reading sessions. And I have not done it for some time. Reason being is, to be very honest, मैं prepare नहीं कर पाया for the books. Okay, book reading requires 1 week preparation on my side. Let's see next week if I get a bit less load with my test series running. Intend take up 4-5 very important books. कुछ रस्सीन बॉन्ड के books हैं. There is one book I've taught in essay class, Alvin Toffler's Future Shock. My one of favorite books is Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, I think if I do 6-7 of those, it should help you. Let me see. We'll have a mix on. आपको दोनों चाहिए. You need to, I mean, these articles, they help you develop a mindset. Okay, and you also need current affairs also. Sorry, छोड़ दोगे आप. We'll have a mix. Both of us, me and Banke sir, we'll have a mix. ठीक है? So from my side, it's done. I'm just calling Banke sir. He should be here. Environment के बाद में कुछ economy के articles हैं. I think he will do. ये article अपने आप पढ़ लेना आप. This article on issues of state-sponsored street art. A very nice write-up. देखो, street art जो है ना, graffiti. It's a very powerful political tool. And I've seen, walls में वो messages हैं, walls में protest हैं. Okay. But what has happened is that space of protest is now taken by the government. उनके अपने ads आते हैं, billboards are there. The graffiti thing is now going off. So it's a nice article. Okay, Hindu में आया था. So read this. It's a political, issue taken up where we need to have some platform to voice our concerns, to voice our protests and so on. ठीक है? Okay. I leave the platform to Banke sir. You decide what you want. Okay. And those who must go to the class, whatever. ठीक है, चलो, all of you see.
Okay, so we will take up 2 articles today. Okay, and the one is about India's growth story. Okay, that what path India should take. Let's say कि when a story began, we all were in forests. ठीक है, हम सब जंगल में रहते थे. हमारा नीड क्या था? खाना पीना, बस उतना चल जाए. तो when our need was that, तो इकोनॉमी जो है it was based on agriculture mainly. ठीक है, तो completely agriculture based इकोनॉमी था. ठीक है, then slowly क्या हुआ कि अब थोड़ा सा खाना पीना हो गया है. ठीक है, it's we reached at a stage where we were not struggling for our daily survival. कि आज का आज नहीं करेंगे तो नहीं होगा, ऐसा नहीं था. We developed agriculture a bit, so now we had some surplus. ठीक है, अब हम आगे खा सकते हैं. अभी लेट्स से कि अगला 3 महीना तक का हमारे पास खाना है. ओके, देन वी स्टार्टेड थिंकिंग कि कोई बात नहीं है. ठीक है, अब हमको चेयर चाहिए, कुर्सी चाहिए. ठीक है, हम कुर्सी पर आराम से बैठना चाहते हैं. ओके, तो इट्स लाइक कि अगर कुर्सी चाहिए तो दैट मीन्स कि फिर वी नीड कारपेंटर टू मेक दैट. सो स्लोली देयर वाज मूवमेंट फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर वाला तो हो गया, खाने का नीड हो गया, अब कुर्सी चाहिए तो हो गया कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग या इंडस्ट्रियल सेक्टर. तो एक जो सबसे बेसिक नीड हो गया, उसके बाद एक सेकेंड नंबर का बेसिक नीड कि हम खाना खाएंगे कुर्सी पर बैठ के. एक बार कुर्सी आ गया, देन द थर्ड पॉइंट इज कि कुर्सी पर बैठकर हम बस खाना ही क्यों खाएंगे. ओके, हम सिनेमा भी देख सकते हैं. ठीक है, मूवी देख सकते हैं, या फिर जो है मे बी यू कैन हायर समबडी जो पीछे खड़ा हो कैसे चंपी करे. ओके, दैट मीन्स सर्विसेज सेक्टर. ओके, तो दिस इज द ट्रांजिशन. ओके, दिस इज द जनरल ट्रांजिशन जो कि इंडिया में होता है. तो यहाँ पर और कोई ये है क्या, बचा हुआ है क्या? नहीं बचा हुआ है. ओके, कोई बात नहीं. ठीक है, ओके. सो अवनीश एक बार ये देखिएगा कि ये और है क्या. नहीं है, खत्म हो गया. ठीक है, हाँ, कोई बात नहीं. ठीक है, ओके. सो जो ट्रेडिशनल ग्रोथ पाथ था, ट्रेडिशनल ग्रोथ पाथ इज फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर ड्रिवन सेक्टर टू इंडस्ट्रियल ड्रिवन सेक्टर टू सर्विसेज सेक्टर. ठीक है, तो दिस इज ट्रेडिशनल. एग्री टू इंडस्ट्री, और इंडस्ट्री का ही एक पार्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग है, टू सर्विसेज. This is the transition. Okay, so all countries which we know currently are developed or are on the path of getting developed, like say China, yeah, developed हो गया, let's say USA, UK, Germany, whatever, they all followed this path of development. Okay, what about India? तो अगर हम इंडिया का स्टार्ट करते हैं, anybody have any idea कि at the time of independence, let's say in 1950, which sector had largest contribution in GDP in India? Afternoon, Anu? Everybody, huh? Okay. Yes. Any idea what percentage? Roughly, just take a guess. Okay. So in terms of this, agriculture had about say about 52%. Okay. In terms of employment, yes, you were right. In terms of employment, more than 70% people were employed in agriculture. But in terms of contribution in GDP, ठीक है, about 52% people, ये इंडिया है 1950 का. Okay, just here. Okay, then it's about 15% of people. ये numbers जो मैं लिख रहा हूँ, it's rough numbers. Okay, means if it was 14%, I am writing 15%, जिससे कि number add up easily हो जाएगा. Okay, for that. Okay, so 52% से फिर यहाँ पर हो गया 15%, and then services was something about more than 30%. So about let's say 33%, 35%. Okay, this was India's economic composition at the time of independence. Okay. What was expected कि as India will grow, slowly जो है वो कोई एक टाइम ऐसा आएगा जहां पर industry will become more than 50%, right? बिकॉज हिस्ट्री टोल्ड अस दैट कि स्लोली मूव जो है एग्रीकल्चर से इंडस्ट्री में करेगा, देन आफ्टर सम टाइम इंडस्ट्री से सर्विसेज में करेगा. इवन विद इन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, इवन विद इन इंडस्ट्री, फर्स्ट पीपल विल मूव फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर टू लो स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. ठीक है, कि ऐसे खेती करने के बाद जो है वो जूता सिलना शुरू करेंगे. ठीक है, मे बी छोटा छोटा काम करेंगे. फ्रॉम देयर दे विल स्टार्ट मूविंग टू सम हाई स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड देन टू सर्विसेज. ठीक है, ये ग्रोथ स्टोरी एक्सपेक्टेड था. बट अभी की अगर हम बात करें, लेट्स से कि 2023 लिखते हैं. ओके, एग्रीकल्चर का क्या परसेंटेज है? ओके, सो इट्स लाइक से 17 to 19%. इट कीप्स ऑन फ्लक्चुएटिंग. ठीक है, उतना टेंशन नहीं लेना है. ठीक है, इन मेंस पर्टिकुलरली डोंट हैव टू वरी टू मच, उतना फंसी नहीं होना है. 17 to 19%. इंडस्ट्री जो है दिस इज अगेन अबाउट से 30%. ओके, 28, 29, 30 ऐसे मूव कर रहा होता है. एंड सर्विसेज इज अबाउट 52%. ठीक है, सो दिस इज आवर स्टोरी राइट नाउ. सो वी मूव्ड फ्रॉम दिस टू दिस. In no place in our history we got to a point where this sector contributed more than 50%. Okay, we directly leapfrogged from agriculture to services. Okay, this is our growth story, Indian growth story. Okay, the problem with this growth story was that we could not create lot of jobs in industrial sector. Okay, because problem is services sector. In India, services, by services sector again we mean IT services. Okay, that's what propelled this growth. So services sector, if you want to work in services sector, you need to spend 4-5 years at least in graduating, then maybe learning some skills, and then only you will be employed there. Okay, so transition for, if somebody is employed in agriculture and want to be engaged in services, it needs considerable amount of time. Okay, while movement to manufacturing is relatively fast. So current जो dominant thought है, economic thought, that is India should focus on industries. Okay, because that only will create jobs. Okay, so then came Raghuram Rajan, and Raghuram Rajan published a book. Okay, and okay, and okay, and the book all right, yeah, okay. Okay. So Raghuram Rajan then published a book. Book's name was Breaking the Mold, Reimagining India's Economic Future. So Raghuram Rajan said that now India need to move towards high skill services sector only. Okay. So generally people were saying, most of the people were saying that we should focus on manufacturing. Okay, particularly low skill manufacturing. Okay, but Raghuram Rajan said कि नहीं ऐसा नहीं चलेगा, because now demand for high skill services are very high in developed world. तो हम लोग सीधे ही we will invest more on developing those skills. Okay, वो work करेगा because we need better quality jobs. Okay, unemployment is not a problem for India because less than 4%, as we are talking, less than 4% of people are unemployed as per government statistics. Okay, so quality of job is a concern for India. Raghuram Rajan said that we will move there. Okay. Now this author, Arun Maira, he was former member of Finance Commission. Okay. नीति आयोग से पहले जो बॉडी था, तो ये कहते हैं कि नहीं, हम लोग को वो रास्ता जो है नहीं चुनना चाहिए. We should continue focusing on low skill jobs. ठीक है, यही स्टोरी है कि रघुराम राजन ने क्या कहा और उसको ये काउंटर कैसे कर रहे हैं. ओके, उसमें जो है वी विल गेट सम वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग डेटा जो कि हमको एग्जाम में काम आ जाएगा. ओके, एंड द ग्रोथ स्टोरी. ओके, यूपीएससी इन जीएस पेपर 3 हैव अर्लियर आस्क्ड अ क्वेश्चन ऑन दिस. ओके, कि इंडिया नीड लॉट्स ऑफ जॉब्स. ओके, सो लेट्स से कि मोर देन 75 लाख जॉब्स दिस ईयर्स इकोनॉमिक सर्वे सेड कि पर ईयर इंडिया नीड टू क्रिएट मोर देन 75 लाख जॉब्स इन ए नॉन फार्म सेक्टर. ठीक है, फार्म सेक्टर वाला नहीं, क्योंकि फार्म सेक्टर से तो लोगों को अभी हटाना है. वहाँ तो पहले से डिस्गाइज्ड अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट है, बहुत ज़्यादा लोग वहाँ भरे हैं, तो हमको वहाँ से निकाल करके लोगों को लाना है दूसरे में. तो नॉन फार्म सेक्टर जॉब्स जो है वो हमको क्रिएट करना है मोर देन 75 लाख पर एनम. ओके, तो दैट इज द गोल। तो उसको देखते हुए अरुण मायरा का कहना है कि नहीं, वो तो हमको लो स्किल जॉब्स में ही करना पड़ेगा। ओके, नाउ लेट्स स्टार्ट सीइंग कि वो ऐसा क्यों कहते हैं। ओके, ओके, इन देयर बुक ब्रेकिंग द मोल्ड reimagining India's economic future, Raghuram Rajan and Rohit Lamba recommend that India give up its policies to build its manufacturing sector and jump straight to export more high-end services. तो export led growth करो, high-end service export करो. Okay, that's the thesis of Raghuram Rajan. Now author says that, Arun Maira says that, it is surprising because this is what India has been trying to do in last 30 years with very poor outcome. Okay, author is saying that since economic liberalization, India's services growth have picked up. Okay, till economic liberalization जैसा था वैसा ही चल रहा था. After that, suddenly India's demand for India's services started increasing in Western world. Okay, and we also opened up our economy. Okay, and then we already had English speaking engineers thanks to IITs. Okay, so we started exporting services. So 1990 onwards, more than 3 decades से हम यही कर रहे हैं. That's what Arun Maira is trying to say. But उसके बाद भी we were not able to create jobs which India required. Okay. Then we will say कि insufficient jobs and income are the Achilles heel of India's economy. Okay, Achilles heel मतलब weak point होता है. इंडियन इकोनॉमी का जो वीक पॉइंट है वो है जॉब्स की कमी और पैसे का कमी. ओके, पर कैपिटा इनकम जो है वो इंडिया का कितना है पर एनम, एनी रफ आइडिया विल डू. ओके, 97,000 इज, यू आर राइट, 98 समथिंग, दैट इज एट कांस्टेंट प्राइस. ठीक है, दैट इज 2011 के प्राइस पर है, दैट्स राइट. ओके, एट करंट प्राइसेस, ओके ओके ओके, डॉलर के टर्म में डालेंगे इट्स अबाउट $2,500 जाता है. ठीक है, करंट प्राइस तो 46,000 खुश हो जाएंगे, खतरनाक लोग बहुत खुश हो जाएंगे. ओके, हाँ ठीक है, 2,500 याद रखिए अबाउट दैट. ठीक है, यस, दैट्स यू गाइज आर टेलिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ डॉलर. ओके, नवीन आई थिंक यू आर टेलिंग इन टर्म्स ऑफ डॉलर. ओके, तो हमारा जो ये था लगभग इट्स अराउंड 1.8 लाख जो है पर एनम. ओके, दैट इज दैट. ओके, ये हमारा करंट का GNI है. ठीक है, ग्रॉस नेशनल इनकम. ओके, समटाइम लेटर वी कैन डिस्कस कि GNI पर कैपिटा एंड GDP पर कैपिटा आर बिट डिफरेंट. ठीक है, थोड़ा अगर आप कहीं पर GDP पर कैपिटा देखेंगे और GNI पर कैपिटा देखेंगे यू विल फाइंड कि स्लाइट डिफरेंस होगा डेटा में. GDP पर कैपिटा इज मोर देन 2 लाख. ओके, पर ठीक है, रफली एज्यूम करते हैं कि 2 लाख है. ठीक है, 2 लाख पर एनम. 2 लाख पर एनम मीन्स मंथली इनकम कितना हुआ? Just do some calculation. Let's say कि 2 lakh, 16,000 something, right? Okay, 16,000 something. 16,000 per month is India's per capita national income. Okay, तो imagine कि 16,000 छोड़ दो, इसको डबल कर देते हैं, 32 कर देते हैं. Will you be willing to work for 32,000 per month job? Okay, so most of you will not be willing probably. Okay, because again you think कि हम ग्रेजुएट हो गए हैं, इतना टाइम दिया है पढ़ने लिखने में, अब 32,000 का जॉब जो है इट लुक्स लाइक कि नहीं ऐसा तो नहीं होगा. ठीक है, विल नॉट बी एबल टू डू दैट. कोई मजबूरी आ जाए तो इट्स अ डिफरेंट थिंग. ठीक है, नहीं तो नहीं करेंगे. दैट मीन्स दिस इनकम इज वेरी लो. ओके, दिस 16,000 इनकम पर मंथ इनकम इज वेरी लो. ओके, तो अरुण मायरा इज सेइंग दैट व्हेन वी ट्राइड टू increase Indian economy via services route, it did not work, particularly for large section of Indian society. जो cream थे, जो ऊपर में थे, cream in terms of access to education, तो वो तो कर पा रहे हैं, but rest of the India is not doing that. Okay. Then he says that, okay, the signs are visible outside economist database in the social and political arenas. The farmers are demanding better prices, informal sector workers and contract workers, fair wages, social security. Economy cannot be in good shape when 60% of Indians cutting across caste and religion are classified as economically weaker section. Okay, now वो क्या कर रहे हैं कि बस समस्या है उसको फिर से और बता रहे कि ठीक है, अगर हम इनकम डेटा के टर्म में देख लें ठीक है, बट प्रॉब्लम जो है कि लो इनकम लेवल का जो प्रॉब्लम है और लो जॉब्स का जो प्रॉब्लम है, दैट इज विजिबल ऑन रोड्स. ओके, Recently we have seen which state have passed a bill for, not passed, the cabinet was pass किया था उसका, a bill for reserving the jobs for locals. कौन सा स्टेट था? कर्नाटका. Okay, right. And the Karnataka is not the only state to flirt with such an idea. Okay, पहले जो है वो हरियाणा ट्राई कर चुका था, जिसको कि हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट जो है वो क्वेश्चन कर दिया. ठीक है, तो डिफरेंट स्टेट्स एट डिफरेंट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम हैव ट्राइड टू अडॉप्टिंग दिस अप्रोच. क्यों ये अप्रोच क्यों अपना रहे हैं? बिकॉज दे थिंक कि वास्ट सेक्शन ऑफ पीपल जो हैं उनको अच्छे जॉब्स नहीं मिल रहे, तो इन ऑर्डर टू अपील टू देम फॉर इलेक्टोरल गेन्स और वट एवर दे आर ट्राइंग टू डू दैट. Okay, so that means there is a problem at ground level. Okay, that's what politicians are trying to milk or trying to address, whatever. Okay, people are protesting outside. Okay, people are demanding higher wages. All these things, economically weaker section, जो है more than 60% people are under economically weaker section. Okay, all these things means that Indian economy had some trouble. Okay, and okay, now it says a growth affecting mismatch. ठीक है, तो प्रॉब्लम है इकोनॉमी में, इसको ऑथर ने एस्टैब्लिश कर दिया. ठीक है, डाटा डाल के. नाउ इज सेइंग दैट द ऑब्स्टेकल टिपिंग इंडियाज ग्रोथ इज मिसमैच बिटवीन स्किल्स, जॉब एंड इनकम. ठीक है, दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग. ओके, स्किल्स, जॉब एंड इनकम, इन तीनों चीजों में ये है. ठीक है, स्किल नहीं है लोगों के पास, जॉब्स, जैसा जॉब्स अवेलेबल है वैसे जॉब्स के लिए स्किल नहीं है. ओके, सो लेट्स से कि हाई एंड जॉब्स आर अवेलेबल. ओके, but then industrialists are saying that we do not have people who can be employed there. Okay, the economic survey, this year's economic survey itself said that only about 51% of graduates are employable fresh out of college. Okay, so rest are not employable. Okay, मतलब जो job है और जो skill है उसमें mismatch है. ठीक है, तो that's again. And income. Okay, और income तो of course कम है. 20 years ago when supposedly India was signing, economists thought India had leapfrogged manufacturing in the development ladder, in which traditionally masses first transition from, again वही वाला स्टोरी बता रहा है. ठीक है, कि 20 साल पहले जब गवर्नमेंट इंडिया साइनिंग का कैंपेन चल रहा था, तो दैट टाइम पीपल थॉट कि इंडिया हैव सक्सेसफुली लीपफ्रॉग्ड, कि हम लोग एग्रीकल्चर से सीधे ही सर्विसेज लेड इकोनॉमी हो गए, हमको मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की जरूरत उतनी नहीं है. बट देन नाउ वी आर रियलाइजिंग कि दैट वाज नॉट द केस. ठीक है, वो बस ऐसे ही फैकेट था. ठीक है, वो ऐसा दिख रहा था. ओके, सो देन सेइंग कि चाइनाज स्टोरी. ओके, तो चाइना लिफ्टेड इट्स मासेस फ्रॉम पॉवर्टी by moving them up the ladder into large manufacturing sector, becoming the factory of the world. तो चाइना का एक्सपीरियंस जो था, चाइना मूव्ड फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर टू मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, लार्ज स्केल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एंड नाउ चाइना इज द हब, टेक्नोलॉजी हब. ठीक है, तो नाउ चाइना इज नो लॉन्गर लो स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हब. ठीक है, नाउ वेजेस इन चाइना हैव इंक्रीज्ड. ओके, पीपल्स एवरेज एज हैव आल्सो इंक्रीज्ड. तो नाउ चाइना इज द टेक्नोलॉजी हब. तो दिस ट्रांजिशन ऑफ चाइना वाज रिमार्केबल. ओके, एंड देन ऑथर इज सेइंग दैट इंडिया जो है वो, इंडिया का रास्ता उल्टा था. चाइना का रास्ता क्या था? एग्रीकल्चर, लो स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, वहाँ से हाई स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, एंड देन सर्विसेज, टेक्नोलॉजी, R&D उसमें. ठीक है, इंडियन स्टोरी सिंस द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस वाज डिफरेंट. ऑथर बोल रहे हैं कि इंडिया टू बिगिन विथ, आफ्टर इंडिपेंडेंस, इंडिया स्टार्टेड इन्वेस्टिंग मोर इन हायर एजुकेशन. ओके, इंडिया स्टार्टेड विथ investing in IITs. Okay, the first Indian Institute of Technology was started in say 1951. IIT Kharagpur start हुआ. ठीक है, तो IIT revolution started in India. Instead of investing in schools, okay, so India chose to invest in that. Okay, now whether this approach is right or wrong, that can be debated. Okay, right now we are discussing about the facts. Okay, कि India chose to invest more in there. Maybe India thought that we did not have enough money. Okay, so instead of trying to invest in schools, the first thought ki, okay, let's first invest in higher educational institutions, and then we will improve our economy, and then we will slowly invest more in schools and all that. Okay, so India invested more in higher educational institutions 1951 से IITs. Then space research. Okay, तो 1962-63 जो स्पेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन था वो फॉर्म्ड हो गया. 1969 में सेम स्पेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जो है वाज कन्वर्टेड टू इसरो. ठीक है, तो by 1969 India already had ISRO. Okay, so these things were done in India. Okay, which helped, okay, which helped when in 1991 we opened our economy. We already had lots of skilled people, ठीक है, जो कि इंग्लिश बोलते थे और उनको टेक्नोलॉजी भी समझ में आता था. So we could export things, okay, we could increase our services sector, okay. Second, we started exporting our manpower also, ठीक है. लोग इंडिया से जो हाईली स्किल्ड लोग थे वो बाहर चले गए, वो यूएस में कंपनीज के सीईओ बनने लगे, okay. So these things were the positive things, okay, of that approach when we started with investing in higher education. But the problem is, say, okay, तो स्टार्ट में बोल रहा है कि इंडिया इन्वेस्टेड, okay, India invested in world-class institutions of science and engineering 70 years ago. Indian Institute of Technology enabled India's software industry to become a globally competitive force. They also produced CEOs of US multinational companies. India's space program delivering result as a fact. हाँ, तो हमारा जो स्पेस प्रोग्राम अभी है वो नासा के, मतलब नासा तो छोड़ दीजिए, वहाँ पर जो यूएस में जो मूवीज बनता है स्पेस पर, उससे कम प्राइस में हमारा चंद्रयान मिशन कंप्लीट हो गया. Okay, so these things are success story of India's early investment in high tech things. Okay, but however, India's pattern of growth with investment in high end skill has not generated enough decent jobs for India's masses. ठीक है, अच्छे क्वालिटी के जॉब्स जनरेट नहीं हुए. ठीक है, तो क्लियर स्टोरी क्लियर हो गया. ओके, कि चाइना इन्वेस्ट किया एजुकेशन, लो क्वालिटी एजुकेशन, लो स्किल्स, बेसिक एजुकेशन उसमें, तो चाइना का ट्रांजिशन हुआ यहाँ से मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सर्विसेज. इंडिया सीधे इन्वेस्ट किया हायर एजुकेशन में, रिसर्च इंस्टीट्यूशंस में. सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट व्हेन अपॉर्चुनिटी केम वी जस्ट मूव्ड फ्रॉम एग्रीकल्चर टू सर्विसेज. ओके, बट द रिजल्ट वाज कि जो हायर एजुकेशन में इन्वेस्टमेंट था उसका एक्सेस जो है ओनली इलाइट क्लास को था. तो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट द मासेस कुड नॉट गेट skills required, masses could not get jobs. Okay, and then यहाँ का जो स्टोरी है, this I will skip. Okay, स्टोरी बस ये है कि 2010 में लियोनेल रॉबिन्स एक बहुत बड़े इकोनॉमिस्ट हैं, उनका मेमोरियल लेक्चर में ब्रिटिश इकोनॉमिस्ट सेड दैट वी शुड बी वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट इकोनॉमिस्ट्स. ओके, ब्रिटिश इकोनॉमिस्ट इटसेल्फ सेज कि in economy, when we are talking about economy, we make lots of assumptions. ठीक है, हर जगह पर हम एजम्पशन मान लेते हैं. एक तो सबसे बड़ा एजम्पशन, वी एज्यूम कि पीपल आर रेशनल. ठीक है, रेशनल एजेंट्स. भाई वी आर नॉट रेशनल एजेंट्स. ठीक है, हमको पता है कि पढ़ेंगे, आंसर राइटिंग करेंगे, बार बार रिवीजन करेंगे तो एग्जाम निकलने के चांसेस बढ़ेंगे. स्टिल हाउ मेनी पीपल डू दैट? ओके, वी आर नॉट रेशनल एजेंट्स. ओके, वी हैव टू फोर्स आवरसेल्फ टू बी रेशनल. ओके, तो वी आर नॉट इनेटली, कोई ऐसा हमारे अंदर में ये नहीं है कि हम लोग रेशनली हैं. ओके, सिमिलरली देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ एजम्पशंस इकोनॉमिस्ट मेड. And as a result, this economist said that we simplify economics so much that its results are not reflective of the real life. ठीक है, हम इतना सारा एजम्पशन मान के कोई इक्वेशन निकाल लेते हैं, वो इक्वेशन बना के खुश हो जाते हैं, बट उसका जो रिजल्ट है वो रियल लाइफ नहीं बताता है. ओके, तो दैट्स व्हाट इट सेज कि ऐसे आने वाले टाइम में यही होगा कि ऐसे प्रैक्टिकल मैन जो कि सारे एजम्पशंस बना लेते हैं, यही लोग इंस्टीट्यूशंस में बैठे रहेंगे, तो वो इक्वेशंस अच्छे निकालेंगे लेकिन उसका रिजल्ट नहीं दिखेगा. तो अरुण मायरा इज सेइंग दैट द केस ऑफ रघुराम राजन इज सिमिलर. ओके, द रियलिटीज आर बीइंग मिस्ड. ओके, इकोनॉमिक थ्योरीज, ओके ओके ओके, इकोनॉमिक थ्योरीज डेवलप्ड बाय एनालाइजिंग नंबर्स मिस रियलिटी. मोस्ट इकोनॉमिस्ट डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड प्रोसेस ऑफ लर्निंग. ओके, Here says that कि इकोनॉमिक थ्योरीज जो हम बनाते हैं तो वो दैट इज थ्योरी हम वैक्यूम में बनाते हैं, रियलिटी से दूर रहता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, व्हेन समबडी सेज कि फार्मर है उसको सर्विसेज सेक्टर में ले जाओ, उसको स्किल दे दो, हाई स्किल्स उसको इम्पार्ट कर दो, वो चला जाएगा. ठीक है, उसको टीसीएस में जॉब मिल जाएगा, इन्फोसिस में जॉब मिल जाएगा. बट कैसे मिल जाएगा? फार्मर जो है ही कैन नॉट क्विट फार्मिंग एंड गो टू कॉलेजेस. ठीक है, उसके पास इतना पैसा नहीं है कि वो 4-5 साल का ये ले सके. ठीक है, सो दीज 4-5 years ऑफ ब्रेक फार्मर कैन नॉट टेक. दैट मीन्स इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर अ फार्मर टू ट्रांजिशन फ्रॉम फार्मिंग जॉब टू ए हाई स्किल सर्विसेज जॉब. अल्टीमेटली आवर जॉब इज नॉट जस्ट टू क्रिएट सर्विसेज जॉब or any good level job. Yes, we have to create good level job, but the urgency is to bring people who are caught in low productivity jobs to better productivity jobs, ठीक है, तभी जाकर के बेटर क्वालिटी के जॉब्स बनेंगे, ठीक है। तो वो तभी हो पाएगा जब जो लोग लो क्वालिटी जॉब्स में हैं, when they will get some skills, okay, and they cannot come out of their job, वो ऐसा फार्मिंग छोड़ के नहीं आ सकते लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए, so they can pick up only those jobs which do not require much skill, yeah, whose skill requirement is very much similar to the skill which they are already doing, which they already have, ठीक है। तो उनको वहीं पर फार्मिंग गांव के बगल में कोई ट्रेनिंग सेंटर लगा दो, ओके, यू जस्ट ट्रेन देम, थोड़ा बहुत उनको ट्रेन कर दो, वहाँ से जो है वो थोड़ा, लेट्स से कि अभी वो 10,000 कमा रहे हैं तो वो 15,000 के जॉब में आ जाएंगे, ठीक है। फिर वो धीरे धीरे वहाँ पर रह करके दे विल अपस्किल देमसेल्फ, दे विल लर्न, बाद में 20,000 25,000 कमाएंगे। इफ यू विल ट्राई टू पुश देम डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम 10,000 वाला जॉब टू 1 लाख वाला जॉब, तो फॉर दैट दे नीड टू टेक 5 ईयर ब्रेक, वो नहीं हो पाएगा, ओके। सो अरुण मायरा सेज दैट मोस्ट इकोनॉमिस्ट डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द प्रोसेस ऑफ लर्निंग। ये जो हम कहते हैं कि स्किल ट्रांसफर कर दो, तो बोलने से स्किल ट्रांसफर नहीं होता है, इट टेक्स टाइम एंड पीपल कैन नॉट डू दैट, ओके। An agricultural worker is willing to apply his intelligence and labor to a new job, but cannot take much time off from working and earning to learn new skills, ठीक है। वो मतलब वो जॉब छोड़ के कैसे आएगा, या अपना घर छोड़ के वो नहीं आना चाहेगा, ठीक है। अगर उसके घर के पास में हमें मिल जाए, उसको मिल जाए जॉब, ठीक है, जो कि लो स्किल का जॉब हो, तो वो चला जाएगा, ठीक है। तो इट्स बीइंग प्रैक्टिकल इज दिस, सो देयरफॉर हिज नेक्स्ट जॉब, okay, therefore his next job, though different in content, must be close enough to his capabilities for him to take the leap from one to other and then continue to increase his skills on the job, ठीक है। तो बेसिक फंड आप बार बार यही कह रहे हैं कि उनको लो स्किल में ही लाया जा सकता है, तभी वो मूव करेंगे, ओके। तो दैट्स दैट, ओके। नाउ नेक्स्ट पैराग्राफ, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इज परफॉर्म्ड नॉट ओनली इन लार्ज कैपिटल इंटेंसिव स्मार्टफोन फैक्ट्रीज and value adding services, not only in large software factories। ये एक जो इंडियन थॉट में बायस लगा हुआ है कि जब हम बोलते हैं कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, तो हमें बस बड़ा बड़ा फैक्ट्रीज सोचते हैं, ठीक है। और व्हेन वी से सर्विसेज, तो हमको दिखता है कि जो बेंगलोर में या हैदराबाद में या दिल्ली में बड़े बड़े ऑफिसेज में IT जॉब्स हो रहा है, दैट इज सर्विसेज, ओके। तो अरुण मायरा से दैट इज नॉट द रियलिटी, ओके। व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, तो वो हो सकता है कि घर में छोटा सा अगर कुछ मैन्युफैक्चर कर रहा है, तो होम बेस्ड फैक्ट्री है, ऐसे बन रहा है, दैट इज ऑल्सो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग, ओके। या व्हेन वी से सर्विस, देन द ट्रांसपोर्टेशन जॉब इज ऑल्सो सर्विस, ओके। तो इफ समबडी इज ट्रांसपोर्टिंग एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोडक्ट फ्रॉम फार्म to the market, that is also service, okay. If somebody is just making, say, a storage capacity for storing the goods, that is also service, okay. So don't confuse service only with high end services, okay. So if you want to create more jobs, focus on low skill manufacturing and low skill services, ठीक है। तो जो नीचे लेवल के सर्विसेज है, वहां पर आप फोकस करो, वहां पर जॉब्स क्रिएट होंगे, okay. So that is the whole idea. Manufacturing and value-added services can be carried out in rural area and around farms, ठीक है। रूरल एरिया में भी हो सकता है, फार्म्स में भी हो सकता है। लेट्स से कि ऑलरेडी कोई फार्मर है ही, ठीक है। लेट्स से कि मैंगो और चाट है, आम का बगीचा है, ठीक है। तो वो किसान अभी आम के बगीचे में है, कुछ पैसा कमा रहा है, ठीक है। नाउ मे बी उसी किसान के घर का कोई इंसान जो है वो आम के अचार बनाने का, फूड प्रोसेसिंग का धंधा शुरू कर देगा, ओके। Just have to traditional skill है ही, you just have to support little bit training in preservatives, little bit training in packaging, okay, and then they can start that thing closer to their own home, ठीक है। तो this transition from being a owner of or from cultivating mangoes to producing mango pickles is relatively easy, उसको समझ में आएगा कि वो जॉब क्या कर रहा था, अभी ये कर रहा है, थोड़ा सा वैल्यू एडिशन, थोड़ा सा स्किल से वो ये काम कर लेगा, ओके। तो दिस इज ईजियर, दिस इज प्रैक्टिकल, दिस इज पॉसिबल, ठीक है। हम उसको बोलेंगे कि बम्बई जाकर के मूवी बनाओ, सीधे ही हाई स्किल सर्विसेज हो जाएगा, तो फिर वो वही होगा कि वो कर नहीं पाएगा। कुछ लोग भागेंगे, उनकी ज़िंदगी बेकार होगी, वहाँ से गाँव वालों को और बोलेंगे कि भाई मुंबई में तो हालत ख़राब है, ओके। नाउ मोर पीपल, सब लोग डर जाएंगे, ठीक है। तो दिस होल स्टोरी जो है वो कहानी टूट जाएगा। तो गांव के पास में उनको कुछ ऐसा अवेलेबल करवाओ, ठीक है। तो दैट इज द फाइनल सॉल्यूशन, ये है, ठीक है। इन स्मॉल लेबर इंटेंसिव एंड लो कैपिटल इंटरप्राइजेस for processing agricultural produce and transporting and selling it in nearby market, such enterprises and value to agricultural commodity locally without requiring their transportation to more distant large scale processing centers, okay. And these things must be done locally, ठीक है, local. Contrast this with Raghuram Rajan's approach, okay. Right now we should not make any judgments, ठीक है, because Raghuram Rajan is not here to defend himself, ठीक है. We are just looking at one direction point, ठीक है। हम बस अरुण मैरा का पॉइंट्स पढ़ रहे हैं। रघुराम राजन, ऑफ कोर्स ही एंड रोहित लांबा, ऑफ कोर्स ही हैज रिटन अ बुक, दे आर आल्सो वर्ल्ड क्लास इकोनॉमिस्ट्स, सो दे आल्सो हैव आर्गुमेंट्स। अगर रघुराम राजन भी यहाँ होते तो वो अपने लॉजिक देते, ओके। सो बी वेरी केयरफुल व्हेन वी आर रीडिंग एनी आर्टिकल, ओके, पर्टिकुलरली रिटन बाय वन एक्सपर्ट, व्हेन ही इज ट्राइंग टू अंडरमाइन थ्योरी ऑफ अदर एक्सपर्ट, कि हम लोग अभी एक डायरेक्शन पढ़ रहे हैं, ओके, तो देयर विल बी अदर डायरेक्शन, ओके। तो इसमें ये बोल रहे हैं कि डायरेक्ट यू डू थिंग्स लोकली, ठीक है। यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन में आपको चाहे जीएस पेपर 2 हो, चाहे जीएस पेपर 3 हो, कहीं भी हर जगह फोकस विल बी ऑन डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन, ठीक है। यू डू, आप लोकल प्रोडक्शन करो। रघुराम राजन बोल रहे हैं कि एक्सपोर्ट लेड सर्विस ग्रोथ, एक्सपोर्ट लेड हाई स्किल सर्विस ग्रोथ, ठीक है। ये बोल रहे हैं कि आप हाई स्किल वाला करो, दैट्स डिफिकल्ट, क्योंकि मूव करने में टाइम लगेगा, और लोकली करो। क्यों? अगेन यू विल सी, आगे बोल रहे हैं कि लोकली इसलिए करो बिकॉज अभी एनीवे वर्ल्ड जो है वो डीग्लोबलाइज हो रहा है, ठीक है। डीग्लोबलाइजेशन इज हैपनिंग, ओके। द ट्रेड वॉर्स गोइंग ऑन, जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशन गोइंग ऑन। इफ यू विल डिपेंड सो मच ऑन अदर डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज फॉर योर मार्केट, इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू हैपन, ठीक है। वो कभी भी ब्रेक हो जाएगा, ओके। मेक, ओके, लास्ट में सीधे आ रहे, मेक मोर फॉर इंडिया इन इंडिया। सो द अल्टीमेट सॉल्यूशन इज ऑफरिंग इज कि इंडिया में बनाओ, इंडियंस के लिए बनाओ, ओके, दैट इज द सॉल्यूशन, ओके। सो इन्वेस्टिंग इन एजुकेशन एंड स्किल फॉर हाई एंड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड सर्विसेज विल नॉट बेनिफिट द मासेस इफ दे कैन नॉट बी एम्प्लॉयड। अगर आप मासेस को हाई एंड स्किल दे दोगे, उनको जॉब्स ही नहीं मिलेगा वैसा, तो फिर बाद में वही मासेस जो है वो रोड पे उतर आएगा, ठीक है। तो अगेन सेम डेटा कि जो ग्रेजुएट्स हैं, 29% अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट रेट अमॉन्ग ग्रेजुएट्स, because now you have given them a skill, for example, but they do not have enough jobs, ठीक है। तो that is not going to happen, okay. Richness of economic activity within local web will create more sustainable growth, ठीक है। If you want to create more sustainable growth, तो आपके पास यही solution है कि आप local करो, ठीक है। local करो, low level skills वाला करो और वहाँ से ले चलो, ठीक है। Indian states have limited financial capacity. It cannot afford to misspend it by reducing taxes and duties, given incentives. ये सब है PLI स्कीम पर उसका डिसएडवांटेज बता रहे हैं, ठीक है, कि हमारे पास पहले से बहुत कम पैसा है, ओके। तो इफ़ यू आर इंसेंटिवाइजिंग बड़े बड़े कंपनीज, यू आर गिविंग सब्सिडीज टू बिग कंपनीज टू कम टू इंडिया एंड देन मैन्युफैक्चर, एंड देन यू वांट टू क्रिएट ग्लोबल सप्लाई चेन, आप दूसरे देशों में बेचना चाहते हो, तो यू डू नॉट हैव दैट मच मनी, ओके। सो मे बी आज आप दे रहे हो, आपके पास आएंगे, कल को कोई और देगा, वो इंडिया छोड़ के कहीं और चले जाएंगे, ओके। सो दैट इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल। अगेन प्रोड्यूस लोकली, ओके, फॉर इंडियन पीपल। व्हाई फॉर इंडियन पीपल? द ऑथर लेटर सेज दैट भाई पूरा दुनिया जो है वो इंडिया को देख रहा है एज ए मार्केट, ठीक है। होल वर्ल्ड इज लुकिंग एट इंडिया एज ए मार्केट। पीपल वांट टू मैन्युफैक्चर वेयरएवर, बट दे वांट टू सेल इन इंडिया, ओके, बिकॉज ऑफ आवर ग्रोइंग मिडिल क्लास पॉपुलेशन एंड ऑल, ओके। तो इंडिया क्यों बाहर देख रहा है, ठीक है। मे बी इफ यू कैन डू इट, बट प्रायोरिटाइज मैन्युफैक्चर फॉर इंडियन पॉपुलेशन, ओके। आप इनके लिए मैन्युफैक्चर करो, बिकॉज अगेन द थिंग इज कि मैन्युफैक्चर जब तक पीपल को एम्प्लॉयमेंट नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है, तब तक वो कंज्यूम नहीं करेगा, ठीक है। द प्रोडक्शन, इनकम एंड कंजम्पशन, these things are related. Unless you will produce more, you cannot consume more, ठीक है। If you want to create demand in local economy, you will have to first focus on creating jobs, okay, producing more. लोग प्रोडक्शन करेंगे, उनको सैलरी मिलेगा, फिर वो जब मार्केट जाएंगे, okay? So we have to complete this thing. focus more on production, people will get more income, okay, they will buy more, okay, so this will generate it, okay. The mold in which economy was cast in later part of 20th century must be broken. Policymakers must reimagine the path of India's growth. They must get down to the basic of inclusive economic growth. There are no shortcuts. मतलब बोल रहे हैं कि ये जो हाई स्किल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग वाली बात कर रहे हो, दैट्स अ शॉर्टकट, उस पर मत जाओ, बेसिक से करो, लो लेवल पर करो, ठीक है, इंक्लूसिव ग्रोथ की तरफ जाओ. And then is saying that global economy is not growing like it was when China became factory of the world. जब चाइना फैक्ट्री ऑफ द वर्ल्ड हुआ तो ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी वाज growing at 4%, 5%, 6% rate. Right now global economy is not in good shape, okay. Global economy is growing at 3% rate, and that 3% rate is when India is growing at more than 8% rate, okay. So many Western countries, those which created lots of demand for Chinese goods, they are facing challenges, ठीक है. USA हो जाए या बाकी वेस्टर्न वर्ल्ड हो गया, ठीक है, यूरोपियन कंट्रीज, दे आर फेसिंग इकोनॉमिक चैलेंजेस. तो हम जो हाई स्किल सर्विसेज एक्सपोर्ट करेंगे, किसको करेंगे, खरीदने वाला कहाँ है, वेयर इज मार्केट, ओके. तो रघुराम राजन इज सेइंग कि देयर इज मार्केट. ही इज क्वेश्चनिंग द थीसिस कि ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी इज ग्रोइंग एट 3% रेट, तो मार्केट है कहाँ पर, ठीक है. तो देन इट सेज कि ओके, producers everywhere are looking for new market, okay. India with its unmet need is very attractive for them. So global investors जो है वो इंडिया की तरफ देख रहा है. India should create more for India, okay. So that is the whole story, ठीक है. तो that was वो कहानी था, ठीक है. अब एक बार आप थोड़ा सा जल्दी आप लोग लिख लीजिए, ठीक है. Okay. So what is the policy recommendation? This you will take up, okay. What is the policy recommendation of Raghuram Rajan and Lohit Lamba? यहाँ पर आपके पास थोड़ा सा रहेगा, लगभग छोटा सा पेज में, एंड दैट विल हेल्प यू जब आप लिखेंगे, आगे आंसर राइटिंग करेंगे. व्हाट इज द पॉलिसी रिकमेंडेशन ऑफ रघुराम राजन एंड रोहित लांबा फॉर इंडियाज फ्यूचर ग्रोथ. और इसी क्वेश्चन का सेकंड पार्ट, व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस इन दिस अप्रोच, व्हाट आर द challenges in this approach according to the author. Okay, now you can write answer. Okay, Rajan's recommendation, correct, Raghuram Rajan's recommendation underline कर दीजिए. Raghuram Rajan's recommendation is instead of trying to build policies for manufacturing led growth, instead of trying to build policies for manufacturing led growth, India should focus on increasing export of high-end services. Okay? So Rajan का theory है कि instead of trying to build policies for manufacturing-led growth, India should focus on increasing export of high-end services. Okay. Okay. Instead of trying to build policies for manufacturing-led growth, India should focus on इंक्रीजिंग एक्सपोर्ट ऑफ हाई एंड सर्विसेज, ठीक है. ऐसा रघुराम राजन कहते हैं. अप्रोच में चैलेंज, ओके, चैलेंज इन राजन्स अप्रोच. नेक्स्ट सब हेडिंग बनाइए, चैलेंज इन राजन्स अप्रोच. क्या सब चैलेंज है बताइए आप लोग, व्हाट आर द चैलेंजेस, दो जो वाचिंग ऑनलाइन और बाकी लोग भी. हाँ, कि एक तो ये हो गया कि क्विक स्किल ट्रांसफर लर्निंग जो है वो कैसे होगा, ठीक है, यहाँ से यहाँ का लर्निंग नहीं होगा. और क्या चैलेंजेस का बात हुआ है, right, that's opportunity, okay, that's India's opportunity. एक इसी का दूसरा जो है कि जो ग्लोबल इकोनॉमी जो है दैट इज नॉट ग्रोइंग एट फास्टर पेस, ठीक है. तो आप हाई स्किल जो सर्विसेज एक्सपोर्ट करोगे, किसको करोगे, ओके. व्हाट एल्स, और क्या चैलेंजेस थे, ये स्टार्ट वाले लाइन में जो बोल रहे थे इसका, ठीक है, डी ग्लोबलाइजेशन, ठीक है, कि अभी ट्रेड वार्स चल रहा है, ठीक है. तो ट्रेड वार चल रहा है तो हो सकता है कि कभी इंडिया भी इस ट्रेड वार में आ जाएगा, ठीक है. तो लेट्स से कि हमारे जो मेजर मार्केट्स हैं वो अगर इंडियन प्रोडक्ट को लेट्स से बाइकआउट करना शुरू कर दिए, व्हाट वी विल डू, ओके. सो द आइडिया इन दिस एज इज वी हैव टू फोकस इनवर्ड, ठीक है. राइट, ओके, मिसमैच इन स्किल जॉब्स, राइट दयानंद, राइट, ओके. सो challenges, first challenge is India needs to create lots of jobs by moving more people, India needs to create lots of jobs by moving more people from farming, ब्रैकेट में लिख दीजिए फार्मिंग के, which currently employs more than 45% of India's workforce. Farming ब्रैकेट में which currently employs more than 45% of India's workforce. Okay, to other sector. Okay. India need to create lots of jobs by moving more people from farming to other sectors. ठीक है, but second line इसके नीचे में, but high-end services cannot absorb them. But high-end services cannot absorb them because it needs time to learn such skills. Okay, because it needs time to learn such skills. So that was first. Okay. Second point, second challenge number second. Global GDP growth rate is low. Okay. Global GDP growth rate is low. So demand for exported product will also be low. Okay. Global GDP growth rate is low. So demand for exported product will also be low. In bracket about 3% of GDP. ठीक है, देखिए अभी जो हम numbers बोल रहे हैं ना कि धीरे धीरे if you will continue attending classes, मैं यही same numbers I will speak many times. ठीक है, slowly आपके दिमाग में ऐसा आना चाहिए कि जब भी आप एग्रीकल्चर बोलें 45% ये 17 to 19% GDP. ठीक है, ये ऑटोमेटिकली आएगा. ठीक है, सुनते सुनते खुद ही आ जाएगा. ठीक है. थर्ड पॉइंट, deglobalization because of factors like increasing economic nationalism. Deglobalization because of factors like increasing economic nationalism, geopolitical tensions, etc. are increasing barrier to global trade. Deglobalization because of factors like increasing economic nationalism, geopolitical tension, etc. are increasing barrier to global trade. ठीक है, तो ये सब जो है वो ग्लोबल ट्रेड का जो प्रोस्पेक्ट है उसको काउंटर करने के लिए. ओके, एंड व्हाट वाज द सजेशंस, राइट, सजेशंस. ओके, अगेन सजेशन नंबर 1, मेक मोर फॉर इंडिया इन इंडिया. ठीक है, मेक मोर फॉर इंडिया इन इंडिया, दैट इज लोकलाइजेशन ऑफ jobs. Okay, localization of economy. Okay, localization of economy. Second, focus more on low skill manufacturing and low skill services. Focus more on low skill manufacturing and low skill services. आप उसके ब्रैकेट में लेबर इंटेंसिव भी लिख सकते हैं. Okay, ब्रैकेट में लेबर इंटेंसिव, which can produce jobs India need. Okay, which can produce jobs India need. Whenever you will be talking about jobs India need, अब सीधे ही इकोनॉमिक सर्वे का डेटा हर बार मार दो. ठीक है, कि more than 75 lakh नॉन फार्म jobs we have to produce. Okay, सीधे. ठीक है, and the third point, for economic growth to become fast, it must be inclusive and sustainable. ठीक है, इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ जो है वो इंक्लूसिव और सस्टेनेबल दोनों का दोनों होना ही होना चाहिए. ओके, यू कैन नॉट से कि हम लार्ज सेक्शन ऑफ सोसाइटी को इग्नोर कर देंगे, स्टिल विल ग्रो, बिकॉज मे बी इनिशियली यू विल ग्रो बट स्लोली जो है वो सब रिवॉल्यूशन हो जाएगा, जनता रोड पे आ जाएगी. ओके, सो दिस वाज अबाउट दिस. ओके, देन अनदर जो हमारा टॉपिक है वो अगेन इट्स छोटा सा टॉपिक है. ओके, इंडिया इज वर्ल्ड्स पॉपुलेशन बिलियनायर. ठीक है, इसका बेसिक फंडा क्या है? ओके, ये वाला जो आर्टिकल है, इंडिया एज द वर्ल्ड्स पॉपुलेशन बिलियनायर. ओके, इस वाला आर्टिकल का बेसिक थेसिस ये है कि जैसे स्लोली क्या हो रहा है कि पहले लोगों को डर लगता था कि पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट बहुत हाई है. ठीक है, कि इंडिया इज ग्रोइंग एट वेरी फास्ट रेट, ग्लोबली वर्ल्ड इज ग्रोइंग एट वेरी फास्ट रेट, बट रिसेंटली फर्टिलिटी रेट हैव डिक्लाइंड. ठीक है, फर्टिलिटी रेट अभी इंडिया का कितना है? ओके, तो 2.1%. ठीक है, राइट, NFHS 5 बोलता है कि 2% हो गया. ठीक है, तो वट एवर 2 to 2.1% समवेयर आवर फर्टिलिटी रेट इज. ओके, एंड दैट इज मार्क डिक्लाइन फ्रॉम से 1991 में. गेस करना चाहेंगे कितना होगा फर्टिलिटी रेट? राइट, इट वाज अराउंड 4. ठीक है, एट द टाइम ऑफ इंडिपेंडेंस इट वाज मच मोर. ठीक है, इट्स लाइक कि अगर हम अपने पेरेंट्स को छोड़ दिए, अगर उनके ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स से बात करें, तो हाई चांस कि अधिकतर लोगों के 8-9 भाई बहन होते थे. ओके, दैट वाज नॉर्मल. ठीक है, जितने बच्चे होते थे दैट वाज लाइक ए प्रेस्टीज, हमारे इतने बच्चे हैं. ठीक है, तो लाइक अभी भी लालू यादव तो अभी भी बोलते हैं, बट इन जनरल वाज लाइक कि हमारे ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स के जनरेशन में ऐसा था. इन आवर पेरेंट्स जनरेशन ऑल्सो 2, 3, 4. Now in our generation, it's like 2, maybe 1 also. Okay, so that kind of thing is happening. So slowly हमारा जो fertility rate है that is declining, and that happened not just in India, globally. Okay? तो ये वाला जो डर है, ये वाला जो डेंजर था कि पॉपुलेशन जो है वो खतरनाक तेजी से बढ़ रहा है, ये अब थोड़ा कम हो गया है. But then now it's saying that there are other kind of challenges, other kind of trends is emerging in India's population. ठीक है, और क्या challenges emerge हो सकते हैं कि अब ये वाला डर तो खत्म हो गया. ठीक है, और क्या challenges आ सकते हैं? Aging population, right? That's one of the things. ठीक है, अभी जापान का आ रहा है कि जापान जो है वो वहाँ पर वो बार बार बोल रहा है कि now Japan want to welcome immigrants. Okay, जापान वॉज वन कंट्री विच वॉज डेड अगेंस्ट इमिग्रेंट्स कमिंग इन. ठीक है, तो अगर आप जापान पहले जाते थे अभी से 20 साल पहले, तो स्ट्रिक्टली क्यों आ रहे हो, कितने साल के बाद वापस जाओगे. ओके, नाउ इट हैज चेंज्ड. नाउ जापान इज ट्राइंग टू इंसेंटिवाइज मोर फॉरेन वर्कर्स. ओके, सो दिस काइंड ऑफ चेंज इज हैपनिंग बिकॉज एजिंग पॉपुलेशन, काम करने वाले लोग ही कम है. ठीक है, तो क्या किया जाएगा. चाइनीज इकोनॉमी जो ग्रोथ रेट, स्लो ग्रोथ रेट फेस कर रहा है, क्यों फेस कर रहा है. One of the major thing is कि यूथ का पॉपुलेशन परसेंटेज जो है वो डिक्लाइन हो रहा है. ओके, सो एजिंग पॉपुलेशन इज ऑल्सो स्लोली बिकमिंग अ रियलिटी. तो यूथ का पॉपुलेशन, ओके, यूथ का मतलब, यूथ का डिफिनीशन क्या होता है इंडिया में इन जनरल, क्या एज ग्रुप 15 to 29 ईयर. ओके, 15 to 29. ओके, तो इंडिया में जो है नेशनल यूथ पॉलिसी, अगेन नथिंग टू वरी अबाउट, ये गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया का ही वेरियस डॉक्यूमेंट में जो है वो अलग अलग डिफिनीशन है. गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया ही कुछ डॉक्यूमेंट में बोलती है 15 to 35, बट द नेशनल यूथ पॉलिसी सेज 15 to 29. ओके, तो यस, तो 15 to 29 इज द यूथ, लेट्स से. तो इंडिया का भी जो यूथ पॉपुलेशन है ना, इट हैज स्टार्टेड डिक्लाइनिंग. ठीक है, अभी रफली एनी आइडिया इंडिया का यूथ पॉपुलेशन कितना होगा, कितना परसेंट होगा 15 to 29 एज ग्रुप में, व्हाट परसेंटेज ऑफ इंडियाज पॉपुलेशन इज देयर. यस प्रसून, 15 to 20 कितना, 40%, 40. ओके ओके ओके, ठीक है. एनीबॉडी एल्स वुड लाइक टू टेक एनी अदर गेस कि 15 to 29 में, 15 to 29 में कितना होगा रफली. See, this year's economic survey said that 0 to 35 years में जो है वो 65% पॉपुलेशन है हमारा. ठीक है, तो our 65% पॉपुलेशन इज बिलो 35 years. ठीक है, बट अभी हम लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि इसमें, ठीक है, 15 to 29. ओके, तो इट पीक्ड इन 2016 में जो है वो अबाउट 27% था. ओके, नाउ इट हैज स्टार्टेड डिक्लाइनिंग. ओके, अबाउट 26%, 26-25%. ठीक है, तो आप फॉर यस अबाउट 26%. यस, तो यू कैन से, आप धीरे धीरे याद करके अबाउट 25 भी बोल दोगे चलेगा. ठीक है, क्लोज टू. ओके, तो नाउ इंडियाज यूथ पॉपुलेशन हैव ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड डिक्लाइनिंग. अभी हमारा 1/4 से थोड़ा सा ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन इज यूथ. ओके, एंड दैट पॉपुलेशन इज स्टिल, इट हैज ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड टू डिक्लाइन. ओके, दैट मीन्स कि अगर यूथ पॉपुलेशन हैज स्टार्टेड टू डिक्लाइन, दैट मीन्स पर्टिकुलरली फ्रॉम इंडियाज पर्सपेक्टिव, दैट मीन्स वी हैव टू क्विकली इंश्योर कि जब तक हमारे यूथ हैं, ओके, वी हैव टू गिव देम स्किल, वी हैव टू गिव देम एजुकेशन so that they can start creating jobs. Okay, or else these youth after 20-25 years, 30 years, these youth become elderly population. Okay, and then these elderly population will not have enough income to survive. Okay, so they will not have much social security to take care of. Okay, so it's very important that we have to invest here. Okay, ये तो इंडिया के पर्सपेक्टिव में हो गया. If you see in global perspective, globally भी slowly globally अभी till 2054 population of youth will continue to increase. Okay, From 2054 onwards, youth population will slowly decline. Then what will happen? Globally, there will be many people, many countries where elderly population will be very high. Okay, and then there will be some countries, some continents like say Africa and Asia, where youth population will be relatively more. Okay, एक part globe का वैसा है जहाँ पर कि elderly population is more, the less working hand, and another part of world is such where there is high youth population. Okay, so what will happen? People will migrate, right? क्योंकि जो लो जहाँ पर हाई लेवल ऑफ एल्डरली पॉपुलेशन है उनको चाहिए काम करने वाले, तो वो कहाँ से लेंगे? करेंटली इट्स हैपनिंग इन इंडिया ऑल्सो. इंडिया में कहाँ से कहाँ तक हो रहा है? लाइक से बिहार एंड यूपी, ओके, रिलेटिवली यंग पॉपुलेशन. ओके, केरला, तमिलनाडु, ओके, देयर पॉपुलेशन इज ऑलरेडी मैच्योर्ड. ओके, केरला का फर्टिलिटी रेट अभी कितना है? 1.8. Okay, so Kerala's population rate is already, fertility rate is already below replacement. 2.1 को replacement कहते हैं. ठीक है, replacement का मतलब हुआ कि हम दो हमारे दो नहीं, हम दो हमारे दो से population गिरेगा, क्योंकि unfortunately कुछ बच्चे जो हैं वो survive नहीं कर पाएंगे. Okay, so 2.1 जब होगा, हम दो हमारे 2.1, तो that will lead to population stabilization. वही का वही population रहेगा. Okay, तो इंडिया में केरला is 1.8. Okay, similarly many other states are below replacement rate. So in India that is happening, keep movement of people from this part to that part. Okay, तो globally भी हो रहा है. Okay, Indian people are moving to say, let's say कि Israel में जो है Indian people are known for providing lots of healthcare services. Okay, तो जब war start हुआ तो many nurses were caught up in Israel, तो हमारे लोग जाते हैं उधर. Okay, तो ये और mass scale पर start होगा globally. That ultimately says that it will have implications for politics. ठीक है, global politics के लिए implication होगा. कैसे? कि अभी जो लोग नेशनलिज्म की बात करते हैं कि हमारा ये जर्मन नेशनलिज्म और फ्रेंच नेशनलिज्म, ऑल काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, जब उनके पास लोग नहीं रहेंगे काम करने वाले, तो दे विल से ग्लोबल सिटीजनशिप. ठीक है, क्योंकि अब उनको हर जगह के लोग चाहिए, वो लोग आके काम करेंगे. सो दुनिया जो है वो विथ demographic change, world will move towards from narrow nationalism to global citizenship. ठीक है, तो ये change जो है दुनिया में दिखेगा, migration होगा, all kind of things will happen. Okay. Now quickly we will go through this article. It's a very important article. Demography जो है, demography is important for GS paper 1, GS paper 2. ठीक है, 3 में भी आ सकता है, but GS paper 1 में जो है स्पेशली लिखा हुआ है पॉपुलेशन एंड रिलेटेड इशूज. ठीक है, दैट्स वो सोशल इशूज में सीधे सीधे लिखा हुआ है. ठीक है, तो ट्रेंड इन ग्लोबल डेमोग्राफी, ट्रेंड इन इंडियन डेमोग्राफी इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, सो विल जस्ट child sex ratio decreasing. Yes. Okay, anxiety over population size and the earth's carrying capacity has died down, giving the sign of global population tending towards stability. Okay, ये again वही कि global population जो है वो अब towards stability जा रहा है. Next 50-60 years और grow करेगा slowly, उसके बाद से growth रुक जाएगा. तो ये डर जो था कि population will increase massively, वो कम हो रहा है. Okay, global population is going to peak at 10.3 billion by 2080. ठीक है, by 2080 global population 10.3 billion हो जाएगा. That's peak. Okay, it will slowly stabilize around 10.2 billion at the end of the century. ये 21st century end होते होते ये यहाँ से और गिर जाएगा, 10.2 घटना स्टार्ट हो जाएगा. Okay, although these trends are quite promising, geography of this count along with its composition is going to pose a real challenge in the coming times. ठीक है, ओवरऑल जो population डिक्लाइन करेगा looks like promising, but जो ये डिक्लाइन ग्लोबली यूनिफॉर्मली नहीं करेगा. Okay, because of that there will be challenges. Okay, age structures change होंगे, कुछ जगह पर there will be more elderly population, less youth, कहीं पर youth population high होगा. Okay, so this will lead to changes in global structures. ठीक है, okay, यहाँ से छोड़ देते. Okay, the second para पर, the trend towards population stabilization is owing to the faster decline in fertility level during the last 3 decades, starting in the 1990s. ये population जो stabilize होने का trend जा रहा है, that is because of fertility decline. तो 1960s onwards, sorry 1990s onwards ग्रेट डिक्लाइन हुआ है. वी हैव सीन इंडिया में भी 4 था, लगभग 2.1 पे आ गया है. ओके, तो दिस डेटा आपको हमेशा याद रहना चाहिए. फर्टिलिटी रेट का जब भी आया तो करेंटली इट्स अबाउट 2.1, 1990 में जो है वो 4 था. ठीक है, तो जस्ट क्विकली राइट इट. ओके, ग्लोबली पॉपुलेशन जो ग्लोबल TFR डिक्लाइन टू 2.3 चिल्ड्रन पर वुमन फ्रॉम 3.3. ठीक है, तो ग्लोबली नाउ यू कंपेयर कि इंडिया में कितना फास्ट डिक्लाइन हुआ है. ओके, ग्लोबली इन 1990s ग्लोबल fertility rate was 3.3. Okay, India's fertility rate was 4. Okay, as we are talking now, global fertility rate is about 2.3 and Indian population rate is fertility rate is 2.1. मतलब इंडिया जो है वो ज़्यादा क्विकली पॉपुलेशन को कंट्रोल कर रहा है. Okay, so that means in coming times that trend will continue. Okay, the global TFR decline has been accompanied by half the country in the world reaching total fertility rate. Okay, मतलब आधा कंट्री जो है वो TFR के नीचे हो चुका है. मतलब स्लोली नाउ उसका पॉपुलेशन विल स्टार्ट डिक्लाइनिंग. दिस ट्रांजिशन इज एसोसिएटेड विथ शार्पेस्ट डिक्लाइन इन अर्ली एज मदरहुड, maternal एज 10 to 14. Okay, and which is a very good sign कि अर्ली एज मदरहुड जो होता था 10 to 14 ईयर्स वाला वो लेस देन 4% पर आ चुका है. Okay, which is a very progressive sign. Okay, and the same thing is happening in India also. Okay, so child marriage in India has been declining quickly. ठीक है, तो all these things is happening in India also. Okay, besides shrinking fertility level, longevity has touched an average of 73.3 years in 2024. Okay, but longevity मतलब let's say कि life expectancy जो है. Okay, तो life expectancy तो एक तो हो रहा है कि fertility rate decline हो रहा है, मतलब कम बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं. दूसरा ये कि जो फर्टिलिटी जो लॉन्जिविटी है, लोगों का जो जिंदा रहने का टाइम है वो अबाउट 73 ईयर्स ऑन एन एवरेज हो चुका है. इंडिया में कितना है लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी? 70 अराउंड है. ठीक है, तो 69 पॉइंट समथिंग, 70 पॉइंट समथिंग, डिफरेंट डेटा सेट्स सेज दैट. ओके, तो ये एक ट्रेंड हो रहा है कि बच्चे कम पैदा हो रहे हैं और जो पॉपुलेशन है वो लंबा टाइम तक रह रही है. Hence, the sustained growth in population is largely due to the momentum created by growth in the past. मतलब ये है कि अब टेंशन लेने की जरूरत नहीं है. अभी का जो पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट हो रहा है दैट इज बिकॉज कि उस समय पहले जो बच्चे पैदा हो चुके हैं अब वो भी तो बच्चे पैदा कर ही रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो उनका जो मोमेंटम है दैट्स बिकॉज ऑफ मोमेंटम, वो धीरे धीरे वो मोमेंटम डिक्लाइन होगा. तो अभी का जनरेशन में बहुत कम लोग बचेंगे. ठीक है, सो स्लोली पॉपुलेशन जो है वो स्टेबलाइज होकर फिर स्लो होगा. ओके, दैट वाज वन पार्ट. सेकंड बोल रहा है कि नॉट ओनली दिस यूथ पॉपुलेशन, ओके, नॉट ओनली दिस यूथ पॉपुलेशन कंट्रीब्यूटिंग टू सस्टेनिंग पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ बट ऑल्सो टू बूस्टिंग इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ. दिस यूथ पॉपुलेशन जो कि ग्लोबली इंक्रीज हो रहा है अभी, okay, बोल रहा है कि 2053-54 तक ग्लोबली यूथ पॉपुलेशन विल इंक्रीज. नॉट इन इंडिया. इंडिया में यूथ पॉपुलेशन हैज ऑलरेडी स्टार्टेड टू डिक्लाइन. ठीक है, but globally it will increase till 2053. Okay, generally when youth population increases it leads to increase in economic growth. Okay, it's not necessary, but if a skill will be given, opportunities will be given, because youth have more energy, they have dreams, they have more passion. Okay, so that is a phase where people can work hard and then they can boost the economic growth. Okay, so globally economic growth जो है वो boost होगा. Okay, this is of course much discussed demographic dividend. यही तो है demographic dividend, right? कि youth will lead to that. The increased window of reaping the dividend, okay, the increased concentration of population in working age alongside declining fertility rate makes the demographic window for reaping the dividend narrower. Slowly demographic dividend का जो window है वो घटता जाएगा because at some point of time fertility rate decline हो रहा है. तो youth का जो supply है वो supply कहाँ से आ रहा है? बच्चे पैदा हो रहे हैं वही तो फिर बड़े हो रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो बच्चे पैदा होने का रेट घट रहा है तो अभी के यूथ धीरे धीरे एल्डरली बन जाएंगे और बच्चे जो बाद में यूथ बनेंगे वो कम होंगे. ओके, सो दैट मीन्स डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड का जो विंडो है दैट इज वेरी नैरो. इंडिया में कहा जाता है कि 2036 जो है दैट इज द विंडो. वहां तक अगर हम लोग कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं कर पाए तो देन विल फेस बिग प्रॉब्लम. ओके, working age population of age 20 to 64 is expected to grow in over 100 countries in the world till the mid of this century. This will need to be nurtured with the capability to reap the dividend. While this count is considered beneficial, a focus on health and education alone can catalyze the expected gain in real term. Youthful age structure of global population is the dividend of the past high fertility and they would account for 79%. ठीक है, अभी इस नंबर्स को हम अवॉइड कर रहे हैं, ग्लोबल नंबर्स है, आपको एग्जाम में ज़्यादा यूज नहीं आएगा. बट ओवरऑल जो बोल रहा है वही कि ये डिविडेंड, डेमोग्राफिक डिविडेंड जो है वो अगर आपको लेना है, फ़ायदा उठाना है, यू हैव टू फोकस ऑन एजुकेशन, स्किल, हेल्थ. ओके. एंड देन अनदर चैलेंज, इस पैराग्राफ के नीचे वाला जो पैराग्राफ है, अनदर क्रॉस ओवर वाला, is that on the anvil of older population outnumbering the child population below 80, there will come a time जब बच्चे कम होंगे and elderly population ज़्यादा होंगे. Okay? There's something called dependency ratio. Okay? Dependency ratio का मतलब हो गया कि it assumes that two types of population are dependent. Okay? That is children up to 15 years and then elderly population. Okay? These two are dependent. Dependent on whom? Dependent on those who are in working age. ठीक है. So as dependency rate will increase when elderly and children's population combined will increase. Okay. So then it will create a problem within this children and elderly. Okay. Children represents hope. मतलब children में if you will invest now, slowly they will become adult, then they will contribute to the economic growth. Okay. For elderly population have already been past. They were already part of past workforce. Okay. So now they are elderly means अब ऐसा time नहीं आने वाला when they will start contributing more. Okay. So slowly there will come a time when elderly population's percentage will become more than percentage of children. Okay. So before we reach at that level, we have to invest in our demographic dividend. Okay. And it says that globally this will be realized by 2070. 2070 तक जो है वो ऐसा हो जाएगा जब elderly population बच्चों के population से ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. Okay. Given the intensity of aging process, the old getting older is more likely in this century in light of continuous shrinking of the newborn count. ठीक है. तो इस century में ही जो है ये सब काम हो जाएगा. In fact, globally 80+ population will outnumber infant by turn of this decade. ठीक है. 80+ population वाला जो है खैर ठीक है. ये all these things बस एक ही point बता रहा है कि बच्चों से ज़्यादा बड़े जो है वो elderly हो जाएंगे. Okay. And that means again the emerging imbalance in evolving age structure renders the population of a select set of countries unsustainable. ठीक है. तो ये जिस country में let's say कि there is a country where 50% people are elderly, okay, and the rest all जो है वो divided है, rest 50% is divided. तो यहाँ पर क्या हो जाएगा कि how that country will operate, because elderly population need more help. Okay, they need more assistance even if they have money. Let's assume कि पैसा है, ठीक है, but money will not help in elder age if there will not be doctors in hospital. Okay, or if there will not be any food delivery boy जो कि आप ऐप पे बुक कर लो, कोई तो चाहिए जो कि आके पहुंचाएगा. ठीक है. If elderly population is not, if youth population is very less, then it becomes very difficult for elderly population to sustain themselves. Okay. In such a scenario, what will happen? जहाँ पर youth population ज़्यादा है, people will migrate to countries where there is high elderly population. Okay. जैसे कि care के लिए movement. Okay. They'll move for care. Either तो elderly people will migrate to more youth population areas, which is also happening. Okay. So many people from again Israel का example and Germany, France का example, people are moving from these countries to Southeast Asian countries. Okay. Why? Because cost of care in these Western world is very high. ठीक है. Because वहाँ पर तो काम करने वाले लोग कम हैं, तो cost of care is very high. So people are moving to Asian countries because there are lots of youth population, cost of care is low. Okay. That's one, people will move here. And the second is कि people from young countries, relatively young countries, they will move to these countries जहाँ पर कि elderly population high है. Okay. In this regard, for about 50 nations, immigration alone would serve future growth. Okay. ये बोल रहा है कि 50 देश लगभग ऐसे होंगे जहाँ पर कि अगर immigration नहीं होगा तो future growth is not possible. The country will become unsustainable. Okay. Mostly these countries are Western countries, okay, European countries mostly. तो यूरोपियन कंट्रीज एशिया में जो है वो जापान हो जाएगा, ठीक है, रसिया हो जाएगा, ओके. सो दीज कंट्रीज विल बिकम अनसस्टेनेबल इफ देयर विल बी नो इमिग्रेशन. दिस इज पर्टिकुलरली ट्रू फॉर कंट्रीज एक्सपीरियंसिंग अल्ट्रा लो फर्टिलिटी लेवल्स, ठीक है. लाइक से अभी रसिया का भी फर्टिलिटी रेट अबाउट 1.8 है, ठीक है. तो जापान का 1.3 है फर्टिलिटी रेट, ओके. लास्ट ईयर इन 2023 जापान, होल जापान में जो है ओनली अबाउट, मतलब 8 लाख से भी कम, अबाउट 7.5 लाख बच्चे पैदा हुए, ठीक है. जापान में 7.8 लाख टोटल जापान मिला के उतने पैदा हुए, ठीक है. यहाँ तो उतना तो लगता है कि दिल्ली में पैदा हो जाते होंगे, ठीक है. सो दैट इज द रेट एट विच जापान इज श्रिंकिंग, ओके. गिवन दिस ग्लोबल पॉपुलेशन प्रोस्पेक्ट, इंडियाज प्लेस नाउ, अब ये आ रहे हैं, अभी तक ग्लोबल बात कर रहे थे, ठीक है. नाउ इंडियाज प्लेस बिकम्स यूनिक बिकॉज इंडिया विल बिकम प्रोवाइडर ऑफ मैन पावर टू द वर्ल्ड, ठीक है. तो इंडियाज शेयर अभी कितना है लगभग ग्लोबल पॉपुलेशन में, इंडियाज का शेयर, राइट. सो ओके, लास्ट सेंसस के हिसाब से व्हाट 17.5 था, मे बी अबाउट 18% अभी होगा, ठीक है. तो अबाउट 18% ऑफ पॉपुलेशन इज इंडियन नाउ, okay. And the author says that with time this is going to increase, okay. India's place is unique not only because it is populous but also because it will maintain this status till the end of the century. कि इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन ग्रोथ रेट जो है वो धीरे धीरे इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन ग्रो करना, इट सेज कि देयर इज अ डेटा फ्रॉम यूएन, ओके, शायद 2024 में ही बोला है कि इंडियाज पॉपुलेशन विल पीक इन 2060s, 2062 2063 में इंडियाज पॉपुलेशन विल पीक एट अबाउट 1.7 बिलियन, ठीक है. तो उसके बाद इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन थोड़ा थोड़ा घटेगा, बट स्टिल बाय द एंड ऑफ द सेंचुरी इंडिया विल स्टिल बी रिलेटिवली यंग कंट्री when we compare it with other parts, okay. So that means India's position is very important because India will be the supplier of manpower, okay. India's sustained population growth will make the global share of Indians grow over time. Hence the country might serve the sustenance of the population in many other economy countries. वही है कि हमारे लोग जो हैं वो बाहर जाके काम करेंगे, okay. It is clear from this outlook on the population trajectory that future population composition and distribution is going to be largely dependent on migration more than basic determinants such as longevity and reproduction. बोल रहे कि धीरे धीरे एक ऐसा टाइम आएगा, अभी हम लोग जब भी पॉपुलेशन की बात करते हैं तो वी टॉक अबाउट व्हाट इज फर्टिलिटी रेट, ओके, व्हाट इज लेट्स से कि ये कितना लॉन्जिविटी क्या है, ओके, तो दैट वी टॉक अबाउट. बट देन देयर विल कम अ पॉइंट व्हेन द मेजर डिटरमाइनिंग फैक्टर विल बी माइग्रेशन, ओके. कुछ कंट्री से माइग्रेट करेंगे तो उसका पॉपुलेशन रिड्यूस होगा, कुछ कंट्री में माइग्रेट करेंगे, तो माइग्रेशन विल बिकम द सेंट्रल थीम इन डेमोग्राफी, ओके. अगेन बिकॉज ऑफ दैट ये आर्टिकल में उसकी बात नहीं है, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट देयर कैन बी मेनी सोशल चैलेंजेस जो कि ऑलरेडी वेस्ट में हो रहा है, ठीक है. व्हेन माइग्रेंट्स कम, यू वेलकम माइग्रेंट फॉर देयर इकोनॉमिक थिंग्स, बट देन यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग एफ्रेड, ओके, कि हमारा आइडेंटिटी खत्म हो जाएगा, okay. More other peoples will come, they will rule over us, this kind of fear starts happening, okay. So maybe these things will peak pace, okay. But anyway, this article do not talk about that, okay. However, demographic imbalance in the population structure threatens its sustainability, which perhaps would make global citizenship a reality against contemporary trends of nationalism. कि स्लोली एक ऐसा टाइम आएगा कि अभी जितने भी लोग फार राइट, अभी आपको पता होगा कि यूरोपियन कंट्रीज में फार राइट पार्टीज आर अगेन इमर्जिंग, ओके. इट्स नॉट दैट दे आर विनिंग पावर, बट देयर परसेंटेज वोट शेयर परसेंटेज इज इंक्रीजिंग, ओके. तो दीज फार राइट पार्टीज हु आर प्रमोटिंग नेशनलिज्म, नैरो विजन ऑफ नेशनलिज्म, दे देमसेल्व्स विल एम्ब्रेस द आइडिया ऑफ ग्लोबल सिटीजनशिप, क्योंकि उनके पास कुछ बचेगा नहीं, लोग रहेंगे तब तो कंट्री बचेगा, ठीक है, ओके. India's population billionaire status can undoubtedly strengthen its position across the globe, provided its youth count is made comparable in all qualitative terms with the youth elsewhere in the world. ये जो लास्ट लाइन, सेकेंड लास्ट लाइन जो है इसका, वो एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट बोल रहा है कि इंडिया विल बिकम द प्रोवाइडर ऑफ पॉपुलेशन टू ऑल कंट्रीज इफ हमारे यूथ जो है वो क्वालिटेटिवली इक्वल होंगे उनके यूथ के, ठीक है। तो बस जनता जाने से कुछ नहीं होगा, वी हैव टू इंश्योर दैट व्हेन दिस टाइम कम्स आवर यूथ आर स्किल्ड, आवर यूथ आर एजुकेटेड, आवर यूथ आर वेल फेड, दे आर हेल्दी, ठीक है। अगर वैसे यूथ होंगे तो देन इंडिया विल रूल द वर्ल्ड, ओके, एट दैट टाइम। Therefore, a strategic approach for converting India's population advantage into real gain on global scene is need of the hour. ठीक, तो हमें वो काम करना ही पड़ेगा, फिर हो नहीं पाएगा। क्विकली आप कुछ डेटा राइट कर लीजिए, ठीक है। Okay. What are the recent trends in global demography? What are the recent trends in global demography? Hello, Ritul Purohit. Hello. Okay. ठीक है। सो दिस इज, सी इन डेमोग्राफी यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड टू थिंग्स। एक तो ये है कि ट्रेंड आपको पता होना चाहिए एंड देन ट्रेंड को सपोर्ट करने वाला डेटा होना चाहिए, ओके। ग्लोबल का बहुत ज़्यादा मतलब अभी यूपीएससी, आई डोंट थिंक यूपीएससी विल आस्क स्टैंड अलोन क्वेश्चन ऑन ग्लोबल ट्रेंड, ओके। स्टिल यू शुड नो इट कि आप इंडियन ट्रेंड पूछेगा तो विद दैट यू कैन राइट ग्लोबल ट्रेंड, ओके। सो हियर विल राइट बोथ इंडियन ट्रेंड एंड ग्लोबल ट्रेंड। What are the recent trends in global demography? Number one, global population is going to peak. Global population is going to peak at 10.3 billion. Global population is going to peak at 10.3 billion by 2080s. ठीक है, तो ग्लोबल पॉपुलेशन पीक कर रहा है 2080s में। इंडियन पॉपुलेशन ब्रैकेट में लिख लीजिए, ठीक है, ये ग्लोबल का लिख लिया ब्रैकेट में। India's population will peak at 1.7 billion. India's population will peak at 1.7 billion by 2062. ठीक है, this is UN का डेटा, ठीक है, हमारा सेंसस तो अभी हुआ नहीं है, ओके। UN का डेटा 1.7 billion by 2062, ठीक है। तो whenever you will have to write anything about Indian demography and quickly throw this point कि हम उसके बाद हमारा पॉपुलेशन घटने लगेगा, okay. Second, fast decline in fertility rate, fast decline in fertility rate since 1990s, ठीक है। Again in bracket, global total fertility rate, global total fertility rate declined from 3.3 to 2.3, okay. Global fertility rate declined from 3.3 to 2.3. Children per woman, children per woman, एंड कॉमा देके इंडिया का जो है वो 4 to 2.1, इंडिया हाइफन कर दीजिए 4 to 2.1. So this is about decline in fertility rate. See again, when we were talking about decline in fertility rate, again you have now both कि एक तो अभी 2.1 है and then the trend, okay. You know you need both kind of data in exam because एक तो ये पूछ सकता है कि अभी का कंडीशन क्या है, दूसरा पूछ सकता है कि सक्सेस और फेल्योर ऑफ इंडियाज पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल पॉलिसी, ठीक है। इफ द क्वेश्चन इज ऑन सक्सेस और फेल्योर ऑफ इंडियाज पॉपुलेशन कंट्रोल पॉलिसी, एक तो यह है कि आप अभी का बोल सकते हो, बट यू कैन टॉक अबाउट सक्सेस और फेल्योर ओनली इफ यू हैव वन पास्ट डेटा, ठीक है। तो देन यू कैन कंपेयर कि 1990 इट वाज दिस मच, नाउ इट इज दिस मच। आपके पास दोनों डेटा रहेगा तो फिर उसका फोर्स ज्यादा पड़ेगा, ओके। दैट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, ओके। थर्ड पॉइंट, इंक्रीज इन लाइफ एक्सपेक्टेंसी, increase in life expectancy. Okay, someone is asking that why in current scenario these Western countries are against migration. These Western countries as a whole are not against migration because we can still see that right-wing parties in these countries also are not winning elections, okay, by and large. Yes, in some countries they are winning election, but by and large even in Western countries like now in the UK, okay, which party came in power? Labour Party came in power, okay. So similarly in France, Germany, okay. So the relatively conservative parties are winning elections, but share of right-wing parties have increased, okay. That is a matter of concern. So we should always remember that कि अगर गवर्नमेंट लेफ्ट विंग की बन रही या फिर लेस राइट की बन रही या सेंटर की बन रही, that means the majority of population are not against migration, Okay? Majority is still for immigration, but still yes, there is always some section who feel threatened, okay? Either because of identity crisis. Right. Same, going to Canada is easier. If you go to Canada and then you can get residency. अगर आप वहाँ से higher education कर ले तो you get jobs. Okay, so it's not like Western world completely is against migration, but yes, incidents are happening, which is concerning. Okay, increasing life expectancy. Okay, global average of 73 years. Global average of 73 years in 2024. Okay, while comma देकर के India has 70 years around. ठीक है. The last second last point, youth share in population globally will increase till 2054. Youth share in population globally will increase till 2054. In bracket, Indian youth share has already peaked. Indian youth share has already peaked at 27.9% in 2016. Okay. Indian youth share has already peaked at 27.9% in 2016, and now it has already started to decline. And last point, trend mein last point, increasing aging of global population. Okay, increasing aging of global population. Bracket mein, India's elderly population already more than 10%. India's elderly population is already more than 10%. Okay? So that is roughly demography ka trend hai Indian. We have not talked about gender wala trend. Uski baat nahi ki hai because this article is not about that. Okay? So that's that. Again, इस सेशन का ये है कि आपको एक broad idea लग जाए, okay, and you will have some pointers, okay. तो mostly overall ऐसा होता है कि सब्बिर जो articles लेते हैं, तो सब्बिर take articles which are more philosophical, which will help you more in writing essays, which will broaden your thinking ability, thinking horizon को increase करेगा, ठीक है. Currently, I am taking those articles which are more fact oriented है, ठीक है. Which more says about current status क्या है. Okay, slowly also. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, bye bye everybody. Bye. All the best. Bye.